Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Supervisors meeting. It is Tuesday, August 8th at 9:04 a.m. If you all please join me in a moment of silent reflection or silent prayer. All right, thank you. And Vice Chair, will you lead us in the pledge?
Yes, please join me.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
You.
All right, we'll move on to our roll call. Ms. DeBoard, would you please do our roll call?
Here.
Supervisor Villapudua,
Present.
Supervisor Patty,
Yes.
Supervisor Ding,
Here.
and Chairman Rickman.
Here.
Sorry.
All right, thank you. So we have a few presentations, recognitions. I'm going to turn it over to you, Clerk of the Board.
Thank you, Chairman. Our first proclamation is of August 6th through the 12th, 2023 as National Healthcare Center Week in San Joaquin County. And unfortunately, Dr. Jones Singsong, the Director of Population Health Management at San Joaquin Health Centers, cannot be here, but we have Adel Ahmed, Director of Government and Community Partnerships with San Joaquin Health Center, accepting the proclamation today. The proclamation reads, I invite Mr. Ahmed down to the podium. Whereas National Health Center Week offers the opportunity to recognize America's health centers, their dedicated staff, board members, and all those responsible for their continued success and growth since the first health centers opened their doors more than 55 years ago. And whereas San Joaquin County is proud to be home to several well-established, trusted, and recognized nonprofit health centers, including Golden Valley Health Centers and community medical centers, who have collectively served our communities for nearly 5 decades by ensuring access to high-quality primary health care, health, and other medical services. And whereas nonprofit health centers integrate their primary health services with outreach, mobile clinics, patient education, and case management to create a comprehensive medical home for our region's vulnerable populations, including Medi-Cal beneficiaries, residents who are uninsured, migrant communities, and the unhoused. And whereas nonprofit health centers in San Joaquin County have developed and nurtured strong relationships with a network of social service organizations, including agencies associated with housing, crisis intervention, food security, financial assistance, and children's services to help patients secure resources, advice, and guidance related to social determinants of. And whereas nonprofit health centers in San Joaquin County during periods of financial turbulence and uncertainty provide an accessible option for affordable healthcare services regardless of insurance status or ability to pay. And whereas the 2023 theme is the Roadmap to a Stronger America, confirming that nonprofit health centers in San Joaquin County have delivered essential resources, testing, and treatment to our community and will continue to offer reliable, affordable, high-quality care as we approach the future. And whereas during National Health Center Week, we celebrate and recognize the commitment and contributions of nonprofit health centers in San Joaquin County and their vital role in shaping the past, present, and future of our regional healthcare delivery system. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this San Joaquin County Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim August 6th through the 12th, 2023 as National Health Center Week in San Joaquin County, and we encourage all citizens to take part this week by learning more about our region's nonprofit health centers, sharing information about these community resources with those who work with our vulnerable population, and celebrating the unique and important partnerships between these health centers and the diverse communities they serve. Presented this 8th day of August, 2023.
All right, thank you, Rochelle. Welcome to both of you. I mean, we have a mic right here if you want to say a few words.
Thank you to the Board of Supervisors for your continued support. We also want to make sure we recognize our partners, community medical centers and Golden Valley Health. We all work together to address the needs of our community, and we work closely, and we hope that relationship continues to grow. We just want to say that it's been a great honor to receive this recognition from in the years past and currently from the Board of Supervisors. And we are here to serve our community. So if anybody ever needs anything, please feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to help out. and we will get out of the way so you guys can see the dogs. So, yeah.
Thank you. You want to say a few words, or you good? You're up here. Might as well.
Might as well, yeah. So I just want to say that I appreciate this opportunity to be recognized, not myself, but our whole organization. We do outstanding work helping the community in regards to helping them with social needs, and we're going to continue to do so. So we work across the table with many different organizations, many different medical organizations, with different housing organizations, and other organizations in regards to HSA, community Central Valley Low-Income Housing. We work with all of these different agencies to ensure that our clients and our citizens of Stockton get the needs met in a timely fashion. Thank you so much for acknowledging us.
All right, thank you. Before you leave, we're going to turn it over to the board. I'm going to have Supervisor Canepa start us out.
Oh, how ironic. I said we just went and toured SJ Health last week, and thank you for the tour. And then Community Medical Centers in Lodi and Supervisor Ding's neck of the woods had a $26 million groundbreaking. So it's important, though, that you guys fill those gaps, because we always talk about where are the gaps, where are the gaps, where are the gaps. So having you guys in the community for a one-stop shop, you know, after COVID, and getting people their wellness checks and making sure everybody is healthier in our community is a huge plus. So thank you very much for what you guys do.
Thank you, Supervisor Canepa. Supervisor Patty.
Thank you, Chairman. I think you said it best. It's a partnership, and when you think about the depth of and the impact you have in people's lives, and oftentimes people are intimidated to go to the hospital, and they may even not even know where to start. But that health center, that community health center, makes such an impact and difference, and it's such a centrally located and multitudes of them. So great job. We're glad we can give some recognition, but you guys are the ones that do it every day that you're open serving the public. So we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Patty. Supervisor Ding.
Thank you. Congratulations. We've had a heck of a couple of weeks, with the big conversation about opioid addiction and the homeless and so forth, and trying to put all the pieces of the puzzles together on how to address this, caseworker follow through, et cetera. The groundbreaking last week was phenomenal. What we're working on this afternoon, bringing healthcare right into the neighborhoods, is just going to be earth-shattering, I think, for that community. So thank you very much. And what am I on? What are we on? Month 7? Eight. I mean, we've got so many resources in this county that I mean, when you brought this to my attention a couple of months ago, I figured by my 8th year, I'll have figured out everything we actually have available, but it's make sure all the partnerships work together. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you, Supervisor Ding, and our Vice Chair, Villapudua.
Thank you, Chair. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for that tour. What it showed me was you guys are doing a great job of taking care of people in our community, and you're doing a great job. There's a great proclamation, so congratulations.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and I'll wrap it up. And yes, thank you very much for being here today. Thank you to your staff. Thank you to the board members and all that you all do, your dedication here to San Joaquin County. As Supervisor Ding mentioned, healthcare is something we take very seriously here on the board, and something that affects all of us, old and young alike. So, for us to make sure that we have reliable and affordable healthcare is very important to our community. And we do live in a great county, as you mentioned before. I mean, you look at all the different partners, from government to nonprofits to private entities, and it takes a village, right, to get things done. So again, thank you very much for being here. And if you would join me up front, we can take a quick photo, and I'll present you with a certificate. And if the board would like to join me down here. We have more? Hold on 1 second.
Next, we have the proclamation of August 2023 as National Dog Month in San Joaquin County, the month we've all been waiting for. And I'd like to invite Jill Faso Antonini, the Animal Protection League here in Stockton, down to the podium to accept the proclamation. And I'll turn it over to Supervisor, or Chairman Rickman and Supervisor Patty.
And before I turn it over to Supervisor Patty, what I would like to, since we're live on TV and everybody's here, I would love to see Supervisor Patty pretend you're going to go tackle a cop and see what happens. And see how well these dogs react. All right, Supervisor Patty, I'm going to turn it over to you.
We did it on stage at the Bob Hope Theater for a fundraiser for
Yes.
America. What did we do that night?
That was the David Garibaldi fundraiser for the Stockton Symphony, the Hagen Museum, and Animal Protection League.
There you go. So
Yes.
we did that. So you ought to try it sometime. It was a lot of fun. And even through those suits, let me tell you, those dogs bite. So it gives me great honor. I mean, we're here. We see these four-legged friends of ours. This part of our history has been so monumental. I'll read the proclamation, and I have a couple of brief statements, as I'm sure we all will. Whereas National Dog Month was started in 2020 by the well-known dog treat company Milk-Bone to recognize all the ways dogs make our lives better. And whereas dogs provide unconditional love, companionship, and emotional support to individuals and families, promoting overall mental and physical well-being. And whereas working dogs, including police dogs, search and rescue dogs, and other service dogs, play a vital role in ensuring public safety, protecting our communities, and providing critical services. And whereas police dogs serve alongside law enforcement officers, assisting in tracking suspects, apprehending criminals, and detecting illegal substances. And whereas the search rescue dogs bravely work to locate missing individuals, providing hope and comfort to families in times of crisis. And whereas service dogs play a crucial role in assisting individuals with disabilities, enhancing their independence, and improving their quality of life. And whereas service dogs are highly trained to perform a variety of tasks, including guiding individuals with visual impairment, alerting individuals with hearing impairments, providing wait for it. Mobility, assistance, and detecting medical conditions such as seizures or diabetic emergencies. And whereas National Dog Month provides an opportunity to acknowledge the tireless work of animal shelters, rescue organizations, and other animal welfare groups dedicated to the welfare and adoption of dogs, including working dogs. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this San Joaquin County Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim the month of August 2023 as National Dog Month in San Joaquin County and urges all residents to join in celebrating the countless contributions that dogs bring to our lives, encouraging responsible dog ownership through initiatives such as licensing, vaccination, spaying, and neutering to provide public safety and prevent animal overpopulation, and support local animal shelters, rescue groups, and organizations that train and provide care to dogs throughout San Joaquin County. Presented this 8th of August, 2023. I think that took away almost all my speech, so we got it all there. Thank you. Great job from our clerk. So I will turn it over to you, and then we'll hear from the board.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Chair Rickman, Vice Chair Mr. Villebourdois, and Board of Supervisors, and CAO Wilverding. Thank you for recognizing the animals in our community. It obviously is something very, very endearing for me. On behalf of APL, I would like to thank you first and foremost for your funding for the play yard at the shelter. That was magnificent, and I applaud any additional funding given to the Stockton Animal Shelter and any animal causes going forward. It is most needed and most appreciated. On behalf of the APL, just a few of our positive outcomes that we have experienced since taking over the Stockton Animal Shelter on the back end since 2018. We have maintained some of the highest live release rates the Stockton Animal Shelter has ever seen year after year. We have spearheaded pilot programs for the homeless pets and for our homeless shelters, enabling our unhoused to stay with their pets. We have provided funding to many, many individuals in the community when their animals are in a state of emergency, and it has enabled them to keep their pets alive and keep them at home with them. Moving forward, the Animal Protection League is going in a different direction, and we are very proud to announce that our new mission is to make a permanent impact in this community by providing free and low-cost spay and neuter and basic wellness for all animals in San Joaquin County. We will be opening up in late November, early December. This will decrease our pet population and offer a solution for the crisis that our Stockton Animal Shelter, for our residents, and the animals and feral cats of all of San Joaquin County. I would love to go into the needs of our shelters right now, but I really want to just bask in the moment that you guys are recognizing our animals and how much we appreciate it. And thank you very much. This is a tremendous honor.
Thank you, Ms. Jill Faso Antonini. And we'll bring it over to one of our supervisors, Mr. Ding.
Thank you. Congratulations. You scared me at first when you said you were going to go into detail after talking about neutering. It's like I really don't need to hear that right this morning. Congratulations, and especially that you're looking forward at a solution in reducing the pet populations by baiting. Anyway, congratulations. Anybody who knows you knows that is your number one priority, and this isn't a first for you, so keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Miguel Villapudua.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Patty. Well, Joe, I want to thank you for everything you do for the community, for dogs. You're amazing, always looking for answers, always trying to save the life, and always looking for an owner. And thank you for all the canines that we have in our law enforcement. They do an amazing job of searching out fentanyl and everything they do. So congratulations and great day.
Supervisor representing District Number 2, Mr. Paul Canepa.
Oh my God, isn't that ironic? Bringing something forward about dogs. If anybody knows Jill, I mean, her poor husband, because her name was Jill Faso before, and now it's Antonini, and poor Joe, it's always Jill Faso, Jill Faso. So I don't know if it's passion or craziness, but this lady gets things done. I'm a victim of a foster for one night. My daughter adopted the dog the next day. So I mean, you know, the live release data is huge, and I think, because there's always not enough money for, you know, spay and neuter. So for that being the next part of the goal, that's absolutely huge. Because I mean, I was just out at Lewis Park, and oh my God, where they're doing the gates, you should see all the feral cats out there. And so I mean, the trap, neuter, and release has to happen, because I mean, they reproduce crazy. So I'm glad to see that you guys are pivoting, because for an organization to do that and to help in the community, you know, control the dog and cat population is huge. So thank you for your passion. Thank you for the love of what you do, and keep doing it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We are recognizing dogs, not Miss Jill Faso Antonini.
But she's their spokesperson.
Bringing it to our chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Patty. Thank you, Jill, for being here. Thank you for your passionate speech, and thank you for all you do, your dedication. You know, shelters are so important, not just for the county, but for each and every city. And I know we just talked about a shelter here, last meeting or meeting before. See what you mentioned, what we can do to assist. And, you know, I'm a huge dog person. I know I got a bloodhound and a blue tick at home, and we shelter dogs. We have adopted dogs. And probably more than we should have, but mostly we're in a black suit here. But, you know, we speak of dogs and canines and what they provide to families. I mean, hey, you have a bad day at work, you come home, dogs are always great to see you. But also the safety side of that, you know, protecting your family. When you're asleep, you need, you know, it's nice to have somebody out there looking out for you. But on also another note, you know, you see the canines here, with the SO, and I know earlier this year I worked with Sheriff Withrow, who I see back there, and this board. We opposed legislation up in the state that was seeking to get pretty much banned our canine officers, and we were one of the first. Well, when I was in Sacramento, I talked to some of the legislators there, and we were one of the first county to write a letter opposing that legislation, and that legislation ended up dying. So it shows that this board, or commitment to not just public safety, but our K-9 friends also. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Supervisor Patty. Hopefully he'll keep it from being 20 or 30 minutes long, but here you go.
So I'll just say a couple closing words, and what I want to do is introduce each K-9 to come on down with their handler, and maybe if the handler would give a quick notation of what the dog's specialty, the breed, and how the dog enhances your job and its functions. So just in closing thought of the chairman and all of us, board, and everybody here, I mean, we all have such a kind of affinity for dogs. We're lucky we can fondly look back on childhood dogs that were just so sweet and great part of our family life. So just for us to honor and have you all here present, the dogs that are here, representing the history of dogs in the world and in our community, and both in service and in comfort and in the family importance. We truly appreciate that. And to Supervisor Canipa's point, we've recognized in the past pigeons and chickens and horses, so it's about time we elevated and bring in the dogs. So very important part in our lives, and thank you all for being here. So with that said, you can go sit down.
Okay, thank you.
Enough about you. So we're going to bring down, and if it's okay, if all the dogs could be here in vicinity, we'd all love to take a picture. So we bring down K-9 Mattis with Deputy Russell. This is the notes I have to read if I can read them properly. So come on down, Deputy. Could you introduce the breed of dog and what his function is?
This is Mattis. He's 2 years old, Belgian Malinois, and we've been together for about a year. Full purpose in narcotics and a very important part to our team. He helps with the safety of the deputies.
Hey, Mattis, that's a good boy. All right. Next up, we're going to have K-9 Poker, I believe, with Deputy Herrera. Yeah, wherever this works. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Are they good in proximities? Yeah, we should be fine. Can you introduce? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Damn. I know, it's a crazy dog. Good morning, my name's Deputy Herrera. This is K-9 Poker. He's 5.5 years old. He's a Belgian Malinois, and he's got a little bit of shed him as well. He's been working the street for about 4 years now. He's trained in apprehension and then the detection of guns and ammo, too. So even though he looks like he can be a little crazy, he's a lover. Great dog. I get to take him home with me every day, and super thankful for this assignment.
Thank you. And it's often said that the K-9s are the best partners. Not saying anything disparaging against any other partner, but K-9s are special. So we've got K-9 Drago with Deputy Morris. Or Drago.
Hey, I'm Deputy Morris. This is K-9 Drago. He's 3 years old. He thinks this is a toy. He's a German Shepherd. He is trained in apprehension and the detection of guns and ammo.
Thank you very much. Next on, we're going to have K-9 Colt from Probation Officer and Special Agent Mitchell.
How's it going? I'm Officer Mitchell with the Probation Department. I have a 2-year-old Dutch Shepherd, K-9 Colt, specializes in detection, single purpose, narcotics and firearms detection. He's an amazing dog, amazing part of my family. He's a huge part of probation. All of our dogs are. They play an amazing role in helping us get our job done and keeping the community safe.
Thank you. Next, we're going to have K-9 Justice Officer Guzman. also from probation.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Javier Guzman, San Joaquin County Probation. This is my partner, Canine Justice. He's been on duty since 2017. He specializes in narcotics and firearms, and he's a part-time therapy dog at work when he's not being nosy.
Yeah. All right, excellent. And we have one more dog. We have Canine Lucy, recently back from international competition over in Spain, I believe it was, where she competed in the triathlon of dog competitions. Yeah, we keep her out here? Yes. Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm Assistant Deputy Chief Bonpua with Canine Lucy, which is our renowned therapy dog at our juvenile hall. So thank goodness for Lucy. She takes care of our kids, and she does a really great job. She's just excited about other dogs and out of the hall. So say hi, Lucy.
Excellent. Thank you. So supervisors, who want to come on down, and Ms. Antonini, if you maybe come forward and take a proclamation.
And we had to share, share our pictures of our dogs. We just showed me some awesome bloodhounds. Are they up for adoption? There you go. Those of you that want bloodhounds, you're the person to contact. And I can tell you, hey, when we bought our bloodhound, it took me a long time trying to find one here in California. So, and there you have a whole litter, so that's awesome. I am disappointed, though, in the fact that we didn't get to see one of the dogs go after Supervisor Patty. But next one. I think we all pay for that. No, just giving you a bad time, Supervisor Patty. Don't want to see any ill will help. We love you all up here. It's all one happy family. All right, we're going to move on to our public comment. And before I get into the public comment form, now the time for public comment on matters within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors that are not listed on the agenda and minutes and consent calendar and closed session items. So if you would please fill out one of the public comment forms. They're on the back wall, and you bring it up to the clerk of the board. And you have 3 minutes to let us know what's going on. So we will start off with Melanie Knott.
Good morning.
Morning.
Chairman Rickman, Board of Supervisors. My name is Melanie Knott. I'm a resident of San Joaquin County. I'm here today to speak about election integrity and transparency. While I disagree with your decision at the last board meeting to renew the contract with Hart InterCivic, despite that decision, I still have a civic duty to speak out about election integrity and transparency to keep this matter before our eyes. Issues, concerns, out of sight and out of mind, will get attention and won't be thoroughly addressed. Our founding father, George Washington, said, "It is the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey His will, to be grateful for His benefits, and humbly implore His protection and favor." So I thank God for the work you have done and will continue to do through your decision to implement the Citizens Election Advisory Committee. Concerned members of the public have brought many issues: dirty voter rolls, universal vote by mail, ballot drop boxes, etc., regarding fraudulent actions and questionable laws that seem to perpetrate election fraud. We even have a legal case regarding election fraud in our county. We are a people governed by consent, and Thomas Jefferson said, "I know no safe depository of the ultimate powers of society but the people themselves. And if you think them, the people, not enlightened enough to exercise control with a wholesome direction, the remedy is not to take it from them, but to inform their discretion by education." If I can go back to this quote, the remedy is not to take it, the control of we the people's elections, putting a machine in between accurate identification of voters and accurate results. We the people can be the checks and balances. And lastly, at the last meeting, I briefly heard the session about our county's work against fentanyl in our area. May I mention that this matter cannot be properly addressed until we call out the loose border policies. There's an invasion at our southern border where human trafficking is happening on such a large scale. It's at the likes we've not seen before in this country. Go watch the movie Sound of Freedom. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Our next public comment form, Sherry, I have yours, but you're on discussion items, so we're going to hold on that one. All right. More.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors.
Good morning.
The Carrie Lake event in Lodi was a huge success. It was a sellout crowd. Excellent. Election integrity movement is gaining steam across the country. People are very interested in election fraud, and they want safe, secure, and transparent elections. As you know, Shasta County has recently done away with election machines and gone to all paper. One of the witnesses to the Shasta County Board to use the machines was Clint Curtis. He's a computer expert, designer, and code writer turned whistleblower. In the early 2000s, Mr. Curtis was asked to write a computer code to cheat in the elections. He did so, and it takes just 10 lines of code, just 10. It was implemented in machines across the country, and it's still in our machines today. Mr. Curtis became a whistleblower about election fraud. As a result, his conscience pricked him. Recently, he spoke on a local radio station in Shasta County about his story and how election hacking works. It's on YouTube, and the title of the video is long. It is Whistleblower Clint Curtis, Shasta County Video, Special Report with Clint Curtis, why hand counting paper ballots is critical. It's a long title, so I brought a little handout with it for each of you to watch. I hope you'll take the time to watch it and to educate yourself about election hacking. Thank you very much, and I'd like this entered into the record.
All right, thank you. Pat Barrett. We're quick here in San Joaquin County. You gotta be on your toes.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for dog recognition. They're so important to everybody's lives. Where do I begin? I live in 95206, which is a zip code that is special for, systemic disparities. We have 10 years less life expectancy than those on the north side. I am one with COPD, and I am one with asthma. Recently, it brought to my attention that there's this air spraying. I know if the wind's up too high, it doesn't work. But when the wind is not high, they spray. We do not get notices. I sleep with my window open. I love air. It helps me go through the day. I think that the people of 9206 deserve the respect that when the county sprays that mosquito stuff, that we have notices, because not everybody is internet literate. It's only fair to the residents to say, hey, this is what's happening at 4 o'clock in the morning when those deltas come right through the windows. They're beautiful. We want them. We feel them. We cannot afford air conditioners. I would really appreciate the county to focus on something to help the people of South Stockton be aware of what's going on west of them. The other thing is, I'm so tired of El Dorado, South El Dorado, with trucks, with trailers. Trailers dropped off because trucks are in the shop or in the schools, and our outside lanes are blocked because of these huge trailers. I carry a Class A license. I am a truck driver. I paid my fees to park my truck and trailer off of El Dorado every month. It's only fair that our district be focused on cleaning it up and helping the people of South Stockton come to grips on what El Dorado is a freeway. So that's why I bring it to the county. It is governed by city and county, just in case you didn't know a little bit of history. So I think the county needs to make it aware that the truck drivers and the truck schools and the truck repair shops that we have to do some limitations on it. I do ask Stockton, they do go after them, they do make notices, but they don't stop. They wait till the weekends and they're just backed up. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody, that's all the public comment forms I have. Anybody else from the public wish to address the board at this time on an item that is not on the agenda? And none, we'll bring it back to the board and we'll close out public comment. And just wondering how our vice chair got a milkshake and nobody else got one. That's all right. We move on to our minutes. If I can. There are no minutes for approval at this time. Move on to consent items 1 through 18. Anybody from the board wishing to pull anything from consent?
Item number 1.
Number 1. Anyone else?
14 and under this.
That one?
The flood control.
The flood control consent item will come later on the agenda once he recesses the meeting. And
Okay, perfect. Then just 14.
That's 14.
Please, thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Vice Chair, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you, sir. Regarding Michael Manna on the, what's it called? Mosquito abatement, I'd like to pull that and maybe reconsider for appointment.
You know what?
Everything else, I just want to pull that one item from the appointment.
We
Is that
need-
possible?
Oh, yeah, it's possible. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to think, should we do a,
Separate vote?
yeah, let's go ahead and do let's go ahead and do a separate vote we're going to pull item number 1, and we'll do a separate vote for item number 1. So why don't you go ahead and do a motion for item number 1?
Make a motion to pull trustee Michael Manna from the San Joaquin County Mosquito and Vector Control District and to put it up for reconsideration.
And approve Joe Peterson?
Just basically pull it and.
Or you want to, there's another one though.
And that was it, just the one.
But you want to approve Joe?
To pull the item. Just pull him and then re-vote on the other two.
Before we vote, since we pulled it,
Yeah, we're just doing the motion here real quick, so let's get through this motion. Yeah, well, one second. That's one second.
I'll make a motion to approve Agriculture Technical Advisory Board member for the 401 position, and then pull item number 2, San Joaquin County Mosquito Vector Control District. I'd like to pull that item for a separate vote.
Through the chair, if I may, Supervisor Vipadwa, if you'd like, you can make a motion to appoint Joe Peterson to the Ag Commission and recommend the clerk of the board re-advertise the mosquito vector in one motion.
Okay, can I use that, your words as a motion?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so we got that motion. We got a second? We got a motion and a second, and before we vote, Supervisor Patty.
yeah, I'd like to hear from, this is, I believe, a District 4 appointment. I'd like to hear from Supervisor Ding about his appointment for his district.
Yeah, this is kind of disturbing to me. It would have been nice to get a heads up before you pull an appointment of mine, a very well-respected individual that served on that board for over 20 years. There was some confusion, and the rules were followed. He made the mistake of verbally telling the director of the mosquito, and there's some animosity there, so you might be hearing different stories. But told him he'd be away from business, but he didn't email it. So, and he missed, now let me finish. He did miss, the 2 or 3 meetings during, you got to remember, we had floods going on. It was a horrible, horrible year along with what's going on in ag. But I really don't, and that's why we're going back through the process of reappointing him. But you don't, that 20 years of service, historical knowledge is extremely important on that board. And it's my appointment. I think he's an asset to that board, and I want him on that board.
No problem. We could have had a discussion before the meeting, but we got several complaints about it. That's why I pulled it. We can always reconsider and come back in 2 weeks, next agenda meeting.
Yeah, I don't want to reconsider it. I considered it very hard, and that's why I appointed him.
Okay, then, well, we can vote on it and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair, I apologize. I just want to clarify really quickly.
Yeah.
The position is not a district-specific position. I understand he does live in District 4, but this is just a general position.
Okay, thank you.
All right, it's, I had to clarify, you are correct. Clerk of the board is Board of Supervisors appointment, and it's, yeah, he is from District 4, but it's not a district specific, so yeah, you are correct. So anybody else from the board on this? All right, I'm going to open up for public comment on them. Anybody from the public wishing to address the board on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for further discussion. Supervisor Canepa.
So is there a term limit to any of these positions? He's been on the board for 20 years. There was just some things that came up. I would like further to check into it to make sure that that's, you know what I mean, to be on the side of caution. I understand that it's out of District 4, but something's been brought to the attention, you know what I mean, whether it's attendance and it's, just some other behavior, I think is more important to check on and make sure that the complaints are legitimate or not legitimate going forward. Thank you.
All right. And it hasn't been brought to my attention of what the issue is. So, I mean, if this was a District 4 appointment, if it was for specific, then yeah, I would agree with Supervisor Ding. If Supervisor Ding wanted to appoint somebody in his district to represent him, that's his prerogative to do so. But this is a general one, and with that being said, so Supervisor Ding.
Well, I know serving on the Mosquito and Vector Control Board is a coveted position, and we've got applications coming out, the yin yang. The individuals that serve on this board have got a special passion. When I first went to the meeting, I don't know if any of you have been to a meeting in the last 6 months, it really was astonishing to me the amount of time and effort and passion these individuals have over an issue that keeps us all safe. We just heard from an individual from the audience about public notices as far as error. There was something, and by the way, Amanda is not served on that board for the last 2 months because he was taken off for missing the last meeting because of another business meeting. But the Vector Board did send out a notice to supervisors that they were going to be spraying in 7 locations throughout the county. And she's got a very good point there, is not everybody gets the newspaper anymore, so we've got to figure that out. Those are certain things that only these small group of people, we don't think about mosquitoes until our kids get bitten or somebody gets sick, what have you. These people are very passionate about it. And when you get somebody that's been there for 20 years and can go through the history of Stone Lakes Wildlife Refuge and what happened with West Nile virus in the late 2000s, the different waterways, canals, it's something that, quite frankly, most people don't want to spend a lot of time on. And when you have somebody that's passionate about it, for such a coveted position that we have so many people lining up to be on the mosquito board, you ought to let them serve his time. There is some headbutting. You're dealing with, these guys are boots and jeans guys, and they're going to have personal disagreements and some animosities personally, but he's a great fit for this board, and we need somebody from the North County on that board.
Thank you, Supervisor Ding. Supervisor Patty.
Thank you, Chairman. I have to say, not one person reached out to my office expressing any concern, any contention, any problems. I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned that in the 11th hour, this is coming forward. But, now's a good time to talk about it, so I appreciate it. But I'm unaware of any situation that's raised to the peak where we want to, somebody's done 20 years with legacy and again, historical knowledge, and I'm at a loss as to why we're pulling that. But I would have wished somebody would have reached out if we're going to do something like this. We should have been informed more about what, if any, issues there are. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Patty. And to your point, this is why we have it on consent. We got it pulled, and we can have a discussion here. Like I said, I haven't heard anything. This is all news to me. So, with that being said, Supervisor Canepa.
Yes, so I get it. This is an appointed position, and so if you have somebody in the organization, and I don't want to get into a match here, and that's why I wanted to pull this, and I brought it forward, because if somebody that works for the abatement district has a problem, then it needs to be investigated, regardless of how long they've been there, how good of a person. If it puts somebody or the organization at risk, and I received an email this morning, so what, am I just going to sit on it? No, I'm not going to sit on it. I'm going to bring it forward. Whether it's the 11th hour, whether it's the most perfect person in the world, I think we can just wait, and if it's good, and then I don't mind voting on it in the future. But that's what due process is for, and I understand it, and it might be uncomfortable, and it might be the 11th hour, but if there's something that is not in the norm or is not right for people that are working in the organization, and you have a volunteer appointment, then I think we need to check into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Canepa. Supervisor Ding.
And then I'll let the vote go through, and then we'll see what the board wants to do. But I was actually at the meeting in question that he missed. I had actually talked to Mr. Manna. There was and it is Mike's fault. It's absolutely his fault. He should have sent an email to the director, and he didn't do it. He voiced it, and that wasn't good enough. And we have a process to follow in the county. Nicole's been very clear to me about that process, and he didn't follow because maybe he's too worried about mosquitoes rather than sending an email, what have you. But he screwed up. But you don't kick him out for that. Thank you.
Supervisor Patty.
Thank you. Through the chair, County Council, so we do appointments, and there's a board here. If somebody's doing something inappropriate and they've found something egregious, what action does that board have to expel somebody from that appointment?
Are you speaking of the mosquito abatement board, or are you talking about this board?
No. This abatement. When we do appointments like this, so like Supervisor Canopus' point, it's something's raised the sphere of concern, so we need to look at this and before we make an appointment. Well, if we do make an appointment, and let's say we find that board finds that there's something absolutely damaging about having this person on the board, what recourse do they have?
I would have to check on the rules pertaining to this particular abatement board. And I was unaware that this issue was going to come up, so I don't have that answer off the top of my head. My strong suspicion is it is up since this board, that is the Board of Supervisors, made the appointment. It is similarly, I would think, this board's discretion whether or not to keep the individual on the board. I would be very surprised if the mosquito abatement board is the one who makes that decision. I think it's probably going to be this board. But again, I haven't researched it because I didn't know the issue was coming up.
Okay, so even if we do an appointment today, then if there was something terribly egregious, we as a board could remove somebody from that because something's been revealed that we may not know.
I would think it is in the discretion of this Board of Supervisors to make appointments and to kick somebody off the board, so to speak.
All right, thank you, County Council Kiernan. And just in summary there, Chairman, if this is about missing a meeting and not sending an email that they're missing a meeting, or I'm at a loss. I don't know why in the 11th hour this has come in, but it's a good part of the process. But I don't know if somebody's been embezzling millions of dollars or what the accusations are here. But I'm really at a loss, so I can't support this.
All right, thank you. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I don't think we're kicking anyone off. I think we just wanted to vet it a little bit, and we got some emails with some late texts. I agree they're late, but I don't understand why we just can't look into it and come back in 2 weeks and vote on them. I'm not saying he shouldn't be on the board. I'm not saying he shouldn't be a trustee. I'm saying let's vet it, come back in 2 weeks. Why are we in a rush?
Well, in my part of the county, it's mosquito
Supervisor
season.
Ding, hold on 1 second. Vice Chair still has the floor.
Through the chair?
Yes.
If I might make a suggestion, it might be to modify, to withdraw the motion and instead make a motion to make the appointment, to the first appointment, and postpone any action on the second appointment. So we would take, with respect to the second appointment, we would take no action and only make the appointment with respect to the first position. And then we could bring back the second position after people have had opportunity to look into the situation and the controversy.
All right, thank you, Councilor. The motion on the table is from our Vice Chair, so it's up to our Vice Chair to see what he wants to do. Or there's a supplemental motion.
You know what? I know Mr. Mann. I think he's a solid guy. I have no problem appointing him. I think he'll do a good job.
So
let's keep it the way it is.
Okay. We still have that motion on the table. Do you want to withdraw that motion?
I'll withdraw the motion.
So the motion is withdrawn. Supervisor Canepa, you were the second. You're fine with that?
No, I'm not okay with this. I mean,
okay. Do you want
to bring it forward? I motion for the supplemental. If there's a second, then.
Well, you can. So we don't have we don't have a primary. So
I'll
we
be
only
the primary. I'll be the primary to do the second, where we do the agricultural one and hold off on the mosquito and abatement.
Okay, so the first, so we can clarify this for the record. The first motion has been withdrawn, so that is gone. So we have a second motion on the table from Supervisor Canepa, and your motion is, can you clarify for the record, please?
Is to do with the county council to approve the agriculture one and postpone till further investigation on the mosquito and abatement.
Is that clear enough there, Counselor?
If I might, I think maybe the motion might be to simply make the first appointment, and we say nothing with respect to the second appointment, and then if somebody wants to make a motion with regard to the second appointment, they can. So rather than combine these two things, I would suggest we simply make a motion to make the first appointment and see where that goes, and then if somebody wants to make a motion with respect to the second position, they can.
All right, so we're just going to break them up. All right, so you want to do the first motion for the agriculture, Supervisor Canepa, since you have the floor?
Or move to approve the motion for agriculture.
I will second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call, please?
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you were right.
Corrected the council. We have new
you were
discussion.
right, Supervisor Ding. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Yes, go ahead. You have the floor, Supervisor Ding.
I think we've left the question open-ended here. I mean, there might be some people in the public that think this guy has sexually harassed somebody, that he's being accused of embezzlement. I mean, you don't know. I mean, pulling up an appointment for the mosquito vector board under this hush is not cool. And so I think we need some clarification exactly why it is, whatever it was told to you. But I think the best thing to do, so we don't get into he said, she said, the expert on this is Nicole, who does the appointments, and she knows the exact reason why he was pulled off the board and why he had to reapply. So if you could please.
Through the chair, it's my understanding, Nicole can correct me if I'm wrong, that as was stated, he missed a number of meetings, and I believe it may be in their bylaws that automatically.
Correct. And that is the reason. So I just want to make sure the board understands there was no outrageous anything that happened. He screwed up, and he should have sent an email rather than tell somebody he couldn't make it for business purposes, ag related. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Supervisor Ding. We have a motion on the table, and it's just for the Ag Technical Advisory Board. So let's go ahead and do a roll call vote. Or excuse me, a vote, please. This is just for the Ag. And is adopted 5-0 to appoint Mr. Joe Peterson. All right. Now, do we have a separate motion for the second one? What do you guys want to
like to make a motion to approve Mike Manna for the Mosquito and Vector Control Board?
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
And we have a second. Any other further comments? And none. I'm trying to get my. All right. Then if there's none, we'll have we're going to have a vote. Right, adopted 4-1. All right, that's. Move on to item number 14, Supervisor Canepa.
I just had a question on this. So I was wondering how much it costs to put the gas in tankers. So I know that we're saving money to help move this gas along from the landfill. But it said that instead of trucking it, I was just kind of trying to get my head around what the trucking cost was. This is a $1.4 million project. And by not trucking it, you're going to save the money, or I didn't understand the total importance of taking the gas and moving it to, if you could clarify that, please.
Yeah, give me just a sec to pull up the
board package if you would.
I spoke with Sandy from the county administrator's office, and she wasn't quite sure. I thought she was going to send it to you, so.
She did inform me you had a question. Trucking component, I'm failing to recall.
He said the gas, do they store it and then truck it off-site? It was just, I understand the methane gas is kind of an important thing not to have escape into the atmosphere.
Oh, okay, got it. We're obligated by state and federal water and air quality regulations to capture the methane and the leachate that comes to the bottom of the landfill. This new system will save us from having to transport the leachate by truck. It will also improve the efficiency of the landfill gas collection system, which will help us in an ancillary fashion to better capture landfill gas so we can sell it in the future. And we have a proposal we'll be making for board consideration probably in the next 8 or 9 months, where we're going to work with a company to sell some of our landfill gas.
Oh, so like the project that was on Arch Road, same idea?
I'm not familiar with that one, but yeah, it's similar to the Amoresco project, right, where they're selling the gas to PG&E. That's correct.
Okay.
That's the one you're talking about, yeah.
Okay, so this is the cost savings over time. And I mean, it's just an environmental savings. Because I mean,
it's complying with regulations. It will reduce costs in terms of the transporting the leachate by truck to other locations. It'll improve that efficiency and also allow us to comply with state and federal air and water quality regulations and help us more efficiently capture gas for this proposal that we'll be making to your board in the next several months.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Anybody else from the board? Anybody from the public wishing to comment on this item? Anybody from the public? Saying none, we'll bring it back to the board. So we'll move on to item, Supervisor Patty, you said 15?
Yes, Chairman, I did want to pull 15.
All right, it's all yours.
Fritz, come on back down, please, Mr. Buckman. Thank you.
And wait till he comes all the way front and just say, I'm just kidding, and then walk all the way back.
Quick question. I just want to review the scope of work on this. I know there's oftentimes a crossover with county, Caltrans, or city properties. We've got, this is a part of my region that I share. Right underneath and adjacent to the I-5 overpass is some pretty distressed roadway. Is this part of that scope of work?
Oh, sorry, my computer shut off. And you're talking about
you want to see a copy of it?
I think I'm looking at that. I think I found the map. I'm sorry, I wasn't pulling up on the computer. So I've got Lincoln Village streets, but we're not on the Ben Holt corridor. We are. No, we are.
Fritz, you need a copy.
We're near it.
When are you going to look at this?
So we've got broken lines on Ben Holt, and then I see a dark line on Grigsby and a small little piece of Swain Court.
Yeah, the broke line you're seeing is just the city-county boundary. The only work that's taking place is on Grigsby and Swain, just local streets. Nothing on the big Ben Holt corridor and nothing underneath the freeway there.
Okay, so whose jurisdiction is under the freeway, the on-ramp, off-ramp, and right there, the crossover, where there's a very large potholes and distressed roadway?
My understanding is the section underneath the freeway ramp is in the city's maintenance responsibility.
Okay, I've gotten a lot of complaints on this region because, again, this is now my district. What could we do to do some sort of, I mean, we're in the vicinity. I don't know if we can do a change order or if we could do something to address that, or maybe take a look at it and come back to the board for a review on the possibilities, maybe do something with the city. I don't know what their plans are, but it's a high traffic zone.
Sure.
And it's extremely distressed, more so than a lot of other roads in that area.
We can pass along the concerns about Ben Holt underneath the freeway with the city. I'm not sure there's an immediate near-term partnership opportunity between the city and the county, but we can definitely make them aware of the concerns. In fact, we did offer to partner with them on this project, and they declined in another area.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and as an award goes, can you do it if, let's say, you reached out to the city and they said yes on our boards as well? We could partner on that. Is there something that we could do a shared expense and enhance the scope of work with the change order?
Probably not for this contract, especially given its size. It would be more effective to go through a separate contract and identify a future opportunity for partnering with a future contract.
And unfortunately, that sounds like 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 months from now. So just the machine, the equipment's there. I would wish we could do something to help that distressed area, but understood that it wouldn't be appropriate to do a quick change order. So let's follow up.
It could be something that's done in-house too. We'll have to explore that with the city. And we both have road repair equipment, and if it's within the city's capabilities, we can encourage them to get that done.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to review the possibilities. Thank you. Great job, as always, by you and your team.
Thank you.
Anybody from the board wishing to address this item? All right, what about anybody from the public wishing to address the board on this item? And none? All right, we'll bring it back to the board. I'll entertain a motion to approve consent items 2 through 18.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion by Vice Chair. We got a second by Supervisor Patty.
Second.
And go ahead and vote. And is adopted 5-0. All right, we're going to move on to the San Joaquin County Flood Control and Water Conservation District. So at this time, we're going to recess the Board of Supervisors meeting, and the board will be acting as the governing board of the San Joaquin County Flood Control and Water Conservation District. So we will convene the Flood Control and Water Conservation District meeting, and this is for a consent item. Authorize the district flood control engineer or designee to execute a letter of intent to participate in the flood system repair program and execute a project partnership agreement with the California Department of Water Resources for the Calaveras River Embankment Repair Project. And this is in the 1st and 2nd district. Do we have any discussion, questions? Supervisor Canepa.
So this is the one area that was right below I-5, right where the tree had the problems in the washout. So then my question is, so this actually is a plus because it was during an emergency, correct? Otherwise, if you had waited for the Army Corps of Engineers, how long would that might have taken? So, I mean, it's kind of a kudos on your guys' half, because had we not done that, I mean, that could have been real bad there because the erosion would have started. And now this is fixing it, right? So if the Army Corps of Engineers would have did it, how long would that have taken?
Yeah, and you're making reference to their PL 8499 program, where for federal project levies under the PL 8499, the Corps will actually repair storm damage. The last time we did that, the Corps spent about $4 million, but it took about 3 years to repair some damage that occurred in 2017. This year, this particular facility is a state plan of flood control facility, and the state is the owner, and the county is the local maintaining agency. Consequences of a levee break in this area are relatively high, and so I think the state stepped in with this opportunity because they saw it as a way to reduce flood risk much more quickly than through the Corps. And again, last time it took 3 years, and this is something that will be eligible, but the state stepped up as a good partner and said, look, we can do this much more quickly through this FSRP program.
Okay, so kudos for that, because if this levee would have went, a lot of folks would have been flooded out. So thank you for reacting so quickly. I remember during the OES outroll that somebody had, brought that to your guys' attention. So it was handled in a real.
And we have a contractor teed up, and assuming the board approves this today, we expect the repairs will be done within a month.
Okay, this is huge. Thank you.
Thank you,
Chair.
Supervisor Canepa. Don't see anybody else from the board. We'll open up for the public. Anybody from the public wish to address the board on this item? And no one, we'll bring it back to the board. I'll entertain a motion if there's no further discussion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Could I vote, please? All right, it's adopted 5-0. Thank you, Fritz. At this time, we will adjourn the Flood Control and Water Conservation District meeting.
Bless you.
Bless you. And we will reconvene the Board of Supervisor meeting. We have our next on the agenda is a closed session. However, we're going to, with the consent of the board, we're going to move that to the end of the meeting so we can get through this. We don't have any outside counsel at this time. Seeing no objections, we'll move forward to our 9 a.m. schedule morning item public hearing. Now, 9 a.m. or at this time 10:15 a.m. It's let me see. It's here. Yep, it's 10:15 a.m. It's a time set for the bid opening for the lease of county surplus real property at the A, B, and C barracks on the sheriff's campus in French Camp. Will the General Service representative please give the staff report at this time? And there you are. Welcome.
Thank you, Rickman. Connie Hart, Assistant Director of General Services. The item before you is a public hearing to lease the real property located at the Sheriff's Office, Honor Farm A, B, and C barracks in French Camp. The Honor Farm A, B, and C barracks are currently utilized as a day reporting center pursuant to a county lease agreement with the GEO Group. The GEO Group has leased and operated the space since 2008, but the current term will expire on August 31st, 2023. The GEO Group has expressed a desire to continue to lease the space under a new agreement. The Sheriff's Office has determined that the housing of inmates in the barracks is not practical at this time, and the GEO Group has already configured the space to offer these types of behavioral programs. Government code requires that the Board of Supervisors adopt a resolution of its intention to lease real property and to advertise its intention to lease real property in a newspaper of general circulation for 3 weeks with a 5-day interval. On July 11th, 2023, your Board of Supervisors adopted the resolution of intention to lease, including the required terms and conditions of the proposed lease. Government code also states that the adopted resolution be posted in 3 prior to today's meeting and public hearing. Staff has conducted the appropriate postings as well as advertised the resolution of intention to lease in the newspaper of general circulation. Interested parties were to have submitted sealed proposals to the clerk of the board prior to today's scheduled meeting and public hearing. At this time, it would be appropriate for the clerk of the board to...
Can you do me a favor and speak into the microphone and move it so we can all hear you? Or you can, it bends.
Voice
So you
is
don't.
not...
There you go. That's a lot better. Thank you.
At this time, it would be appropriate for the clerk of the board to open any sealed proposals that have been received and to read the contents for the required items and lease terms.
All right. Thank you. And this time we'll have the clerk of the board please open all written bids that have been received.
Chairman, we received one bid directly to the clerk's office. We believe a duplicate bid was also sent to General Services, so we're going to be opening both here this morning. Okay, this bid was received by the GEO Group Incorporated. The lease payment base rent, GEO will pay $1.46 per RSF per month, modified gross per month, for a total monthly cost of $6,022.50. As in addition to the base rent, tenant shall reimburse a portion of utilities in the amount of 14 cents per RSF per month for a total monthly cost of $577.50. And the second one is a duplicate of the first bid.
So at this time, staff is requesting that the chair open the public hearing to receive any oral bids that must exceed the highest rental rate received by at least 5%, which would put that at $6,323.62. Staff will record any oral bids received, and the chair then can close the public hearing. At the conclusion of the public hearing, staff will identify the highest rated qualifying proposal. So at this time, Chair, it would be appropriate for you to.
What's the correct, the correct minimum oral bid as of now?
I'm sorry?
What's the correct minimum oral bid?
$6,323.62, which is 5% above the $6,022.50.
All right, at this time, we will open the public hearing and request and conduct the oral bidding. And the minimum oral bid amount is $6,323.62. And those interested bidders must be present in chambers. Announce minimum bid increments 5%. The county will award on the highest bid actually received during the hearing. All right, is there any bidders here today? Any bidders? All right, we have no bids. So can we, Counselor, can we have public comment on this outside of bidding or no?
Yes.
Okay, so any public comment on this item outside of the bidders, which we do not have any? Sheriff Withrow, would you like to say anything or no? I don't want to put you on the spot, but. All right, seeing. All right, so with that, we will conclude. Oh, excuse me, Supervisor Patty. Well, let's bring it back to the board. We'll bring it back to the board and we will conclude the public hearing. And we'll bring it back to the board. Supervisor Patty.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to hear from Sheriff Withrow if this is satisfactory and it fits into the plan that he has on his campus and all the services that how it carefully integrates.
Thank you. Through the board, through the chair, Supervisor Patty. GEO's been there for a long time, as long as I can remember, actually, and they've been a great program. I know that the court refers a tremendous amount of people there. It's a great service for people trying to change their life and get out of a life of crime. And we've and I was just talking with the lieutenant in the back, and as far as either one of us remember, we've never had any trouble or issues out there. It seems to be a great program. As you know, we're breaking ground on the new jail here in a few weeks, actually, which will be replacing the Honor Farm. So I think it's a great system to have out there. It's right next to our alternative work program, and I think it's a great place to have it, where they can come out and get the services they need. So parolees, probationers, anybody involved with the criminal justice system can get some help out there.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Sheriff. I appreciate that. I just wanted to hear that if it integrates as satisfied as you are, and that's a great affirmation to what is current and ongoing. So thank you very much. That's all, Chair.
All right, thank you, Supervisor Patty. Thank you, Sheriff Withrow. All right, so we have closed the bidding, concluded the hearing, and so we do have a high bid and bidder, correct? Can you state?
Yeah, I'd make a motion.
Wait 1 second, Supervisor Petty. Who's the high? Can you announce the high bid and bidder once again, please?
The bid that we received is from the GEO Group Incorporated for a lease payment base rent of $6,022.50.
And what's the? And I'm sorry, what was the name? I'm trying to write this down there.
GEO Group Incorporated.
It's the same company that's currently running.
All right, and that GSD staff will coordinate the new lease for execution by the director of GSD. And now, with that, Supervisor Petty.
Thank you, Chair. Motion to accept the bid as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Go and vote, please. And is adopted 5-0. All right, thank you. All right, well, now we're on to the discussion item, the general government. Board discussion of, let's try that again. Board discussion and consideration of the transfer of $1.5 million from the contingency provision budget number 10190000000 to the public improvement budget number 10401480000 for a one-time allocation of $1.5 million to visionary home builders for the construction of a new affordable multi-unit housing project for San Joaquin County residents located in downtown Stockton, and 4/5 vote is required. And this is from Supervisor Canepa?
Nope.
Oh,
we go.
Vice Chair, it's all you. I'm going to turn it over to you. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Chairman. Right now, we have an opportunity to partner with visionary home builders for 94 affordable housing units. The housing shortage in San Joaquin County, and visionary home builders has an incredible reputation of building quality products. And I do have Carol Nellis here to answer any questions we have, but I think it'd be a good idea for the county to join in partnership, $1.5 million, and we can join the state and the city in collaboration to provide low-cost housing in San Joaquin County. Carol, would you mind saying a few words? Sure.
Good morning, and if you just state your name for the record, please.
Yes, good morning. My name is Carol Ornelas, and I'm the CEO of Visionary Home Builders. We're very excited to present to you this partnership. It's been a long road. It is a 94-unit complex. How did this apartment complex come to be a vision? First of all, we applied for the excess land when the governor said we're going to put out excess land that the state owns, and Stockton was the first excess land to be put out to RFP for qualified developers. We were the ones that received the bid. We did have a couple of challenges, and those challenges was that this was their first one of excess land, and it was brownfield. And so we worked together with the state to come up with the dollars to clean up the project so that we would have a buildable site. It did take a little bit of time, but they came up with $4 million to clean the site so that we would have a buildable site. In the meantime, we also applied for many layers of funding that was out there to make a project work. In the Valley, it's very, very difficult because we don't have borrowing power. And what does borrowing power means is that we would hope that our rents were high enough so that we could borrow from our banks. But unfortunately, we have to deal with our residents that we have here in our community that are working here that don't have high wages, so the rents are very much tapped at a very low rate. And to give you a comparison, a one-bedroom, we get $400 rent. In the Bay Area, you get almost $2,000 for that same unit. So you can see where the challenges are at. But for Visionary, we go after every dollar because it's important to bring every dollar that we possibly can in addressing affordable housing into our community. To date, we have raised the following. We applied for the multifamily housing program, which is a program that is put out by the state of California, and we have been awarded $13,744,644. We also applied for LGMG, which is a program that for excess land, the governor has put funds in there, so we went out competitively and we received a commitment for $6 million. We applied for an infrastructure grant because one of the things that happens with affordable housing, and especially with infield, is that our infrastructure is very weak in the downtown Stockton. We've already started the first improvement of the storm pipe that controls the Delta water from flooding the downtown Stockton. We've already done a lot of that work on Grandview Village, and we will continue that work down on American and Minor, and we received a commitment of $2.4 million to put in new piping. And for those of you who don't know, that piping is pretty much crumbling out there because it's 100 years old. So once again, this is a great investment for our community, and those dollars have been committed. We have also applied to the home money for the city of Stockton, which we received $600,000, as well as impact waiver fees of $1.3 million. So today we've come to you, we've got a gap of $1.5 million that is stopping us from applying for an important piece, and that's the tax credit dollars, which comes in as equity into the project. That application is due September 6th, and if these dollars are awarded, we would receive $34 million in equity, not loan, equity from investors. Investors such as Verizon, had Edison Capital, the banks are investors in these, and their money comes in as equity. And upon a successful application, we will have raised $60 million for this project. So you can imagine that's a lot of layering, but a lot of good money that would come in that would develop 94 units. And I want to tell you a little bit about this 94 unit. We're calling it integrational housing because we want to put seniors on part of the project and families on the other, integrating them together. We have a commitment from Dignity Health to work in our community, to work with the families with health issues, especially our seniors, as well as when we look at our families, we also will have our traditional model of a Head Start facility that will start our children with early education as early as 3 to 5 years of age. None of these monies will be dispersed until we have all of the dollars. We hope before the end of the year that this $34 million will be approved, and we would be in construction no later than May 1st. And then you would see this project completely done within 24 months. What you have here is a shovel-ready project. We've gone through entitlements. So in order to be competitive with those tax credits, we definitely have to be ready to go into construction. And so once those tax credits are received, then definitely our clock starts ticking. We will be very excited to be in construction.
All right, thank you. Supervisor Laruda?
Well, I'm just saying, I think it's an excellent project for the county. For $1.5 million, 94 units, we could help a lot of people. and I think this project makes sense for everyone.
All right, thank you, Vice Chair. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We might ask you some questions here in a little bit. Supervisor Patty.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to state Mr. Ornelas has done an amazing job. I mean, if you look at the math on this is a win-win. At just the 30+ million, it's a 20-to-1 match. At the 60+ million, it's over 40-to-1 match for us to help boost housing stocks. Those that oftentimes are underserved with not enough inventory, end up having to overpay. But also, I want to note Mr. Ornelas puts in projects that always have community services and support embedded into her projects. So there's more than just housing. There's a level of fantastic community support, always done with a great level of curb appeal. And to get this far, to go through this grant process and to even make the application for the land and the diligence to see this through and bring it to us, I want to applaud Supervisor Villalpudua for bringing this to the board for opportunity of county investment on what will be a long-term impact on many that need housing in an area that is badly needed as well. So I'm in full support of this. I love it when you briefed us on this before it got to the board. And again, appreciate Supervisor Villalpudua for bringing it to us for consideration. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Patty. Supervisor Ding.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I do have some questions for Mr. Ornelas. And while you're walking down here, Supervisor Villalpudua, infill projects are so exciting, and this is watching out for your district and doing what needs to be done there. Carol, I remember attending one of your first passing of the keys back in '94 on a project in a former life. So the typical layman, and please don't take this as adversarial at all. I'm trying to do that. I'm not a developer. $60 million, 94 units, $750,000 a unit. I'm assuming most of that is because of the cleaning up of the Browns fields. Can you break that down a little bit for me? So
it's many things that have driven up the cost of development today. I mean, I had sticker shock about 2 years ago when the first bids were coming in, and I had a conversation with Supervisor Tom Patty, and goes, if any project comes that's over $300,000 a unit, I'm not going to support it. A lot changed after COVID. Lumber, materials, everything went up, including labor. And this one also triggers prevailing wage, so that adds to the cost. There are many things driving up these costs. When I first got my first set of numbers, I was, like I said, sticker shock, and I thought, hey, I can't take a project like this to anybody because they're going to think I'm putting gold toilets in there. And so I started to talk to the people up and down the valley and, asking them what their costs were coming in. And fortunately, the Chamber of Commerce did the same type of study, and I was at a meeting, and they used Modesto as an example, and their cost was $650,000 without land. And then I went to my cohorts at Fresno to see, what's going on here, and we were all coming up with the same cost. And we're not even a high-cost area now, even at this price. But I think this is our reality going forward. As labor goes up, it means material also goes up, and so we're dealing with that. And, this is what we're going to be seeing, for now on. I don't see us rolling back on labor, and when we don't roll back on labor, it has a domino effect on materials because it takes labor to make the materials. And so, we're fighting it. As you can see, this is a lot of soft dollars that we have to compete for. Right now we're out in competition for more soft dollars, but these are our costs. These are watched very closely by the state, and we're still not at the threshold that they're seeing. It's even higher in the valley. In this last application that we filled in, they said If anything was closer to 700, start justifying it. But I think we're here in the valley, we're in that $600,000 per unit.
Would I be intellectually correct in saying infill projects are more expensive
Yes,
than just?
We don't have, I like that clean, canvas that, when you're going into a new area, you put new stuff in. Well, we have to do all the investigations of what happened in the old land and what happened many years into this community, especially since downtown was underwater at one point. And so, whatever was left behind or what was built before, like on this side here, there was a car wash and a possible cleaning company. So, whatever was put into that ground, we're taking it out and we're cleaning it up to make it a buildable site. So, a pipe, $2 million you add to your project. The cleanup is $4 million, and so those numbers, show what, we have to pay for, building an affordable housing. Nobody will finance a dirty site, so that definitely needed to happen. Yes, I feel like I put in a lot of the city's infrastructure and some in the county infrastructure that leads for other projects to be built on the backs of affordable housing.
Thank you very much, and I applaud your efforts here. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Ding. Supervisor Canepa.
Yes, that's the old Shaughnessy Car Wash in Minor Street. It's been interesting though, because when we think of affordable housing, it's not affordable. And I mean, that's the problem that we have, is how do you get folks to come and invest in the community? Yes. I mean, but this corridor, the minor corridor, has been kind of the thing where, the ACE train is there to get people to live and play and work, on that corridor. So, I mean, this is huge. For $1.5 million, I mean, to get you there. What's the chances, of getting these tax credits? So how many other people are shovel ready like your project?
Competition is rough. The good thing about it is the tax credits, we will compete with the Central Valley. So the one thing we all know that are doing affordable housing, boy, we watch numbers. We look at what was funded in the last round, what was the tiebreaker, because money like yours is what helps us with our tiebreakers. If there isn't money from our local community, that tiebreaker will be very minimal. I think we were looking at our tiebreaker today, and it was 66%. So if we hold at that 66, that's a very good indication that we have a very good chance of getting funded. But we are competitive. We have to make sure that, our application, if I don't have enough money, there's no point in submitting. If I don't have all my documents, because if I can't clear those first 100 points, because everything goes to the tiebreaker, and the tiebreaker has to do with what the local jurisdictions have put into your project, what government dollars came in. And with the monies that we have from our infill with the city of Stockton, with our MHP, and if we get funded today, the county, that just brings our tiebreaker very, very competitive.
Okay, then the second part of the question. So some of the money has time restraints. So how are you pushing any of those? Because I know it's like the city is certain block money or grants have to be spent within so long, and you can't use it for, certain types of are you affected by any of that? What do they call that when you, before you start the project, I know that was a problem.
We're a ticking clock. Everything has a time constraint. And that's why shovel ready means that by May, because the results will come out towards the end of this year. And so we will finish our construction financing, which we already have commitments from banks and investors that are interested in this project. We will use that period of time after the awards to put all those partnership You know, we will have 6 lawyers at the table, all saying what each one wants from this partnership. And what we mean want is, you know, the language that protects each one of their interests. And so shovel ready means that once we get that construction loan, we are ready to go into construction. So it is a very fast moving. Once it gets going, we've got 24 months. 18 of those is probably construction, and 4 is to make sure that we fill the project with residents that will be living there. 24 months is max.
Perfect. I'm glad to leverage this money. When's Grandview grand opening? When are we cutting a ribbon?
Well, we're looking that we should be finished with construction at the end of September. October and November, we hope to be getting families in, because we got to get all the families in by December. Because these tax credits, people are waiting for them for their income taxes. So we have to get them, we have to serve to the finished product. But we are so excited because it's looking fabulous. And you may see netting up there, but inside the units, they're pretty well done. And we're just finishing mainly the outside. So we're excited.
Perfect. Thank you, Chair. I'll be supporting this. So thank you very much for the work.
Thank you, Supervisor Canepa. Supervisor Patty? Are you good? Sure. All right. Seeing nobody else from the board, we'll open up to public comment. Anybody from the public wishing to address the board? Yes, please. Come on down, just like the Price is Right.
Pat Barrett, I just want to say that as an advocate for the unhoused, I'm not going to hold you to the number of 400, but my question is, after 2 years and costs are still going up because of this inflation crap that we're going through because of COVID, are you still going to be able to maintain low income, I'm not saying affordable because that's out of the question, low income rents for our seniors that, or families that are on welfare and on Social Security? Can you still maintain those rents? I just want it on record. I'm hoping they'll give you your money. I just want to know because I am that advocate for the homeless.
Sounds like you're running a meeting down there, you tell me.
Well, it's public interest.
Yeah, you have 3 minutes, so is that your time?
Okay, go ahead. I'm done.
Okay.
First of all, for us affordable housing development, we have our own form of rent control because the rents are published every year to meet the income levels that we say we're going to be serving in this community. In this community, we're going to be serving people from 30 to 80% of the area median income. We have pushed to make sure we get some of those at 80 because most of the programs stop at 61% of area. And so the way that we came was income averaging, but this is an affordable housing project for 55 years, and those rents are all controlled.
All right, thank you. Ms. Barrett, I was just giving you a bad time. Thank you very much. Anybody else from the public wishing to address the board at this time? And none, bring it back to the board. I just have a quick one. Our contingency provision budget, our Mr. CAO, how much money do we have in that?
Chair Rickman, I think it's in the neighborhood of $3 million, but I would need to ask one of my staff.
Well, it's just I'm just looking for an approximate, and then this funding is for emergency purposes, right?
It is, or for special items like we're talking about today.
Okay, so so we say we had 3 million, we use that, we have 1.5 million.
I believe that's correct.
And we just passed our budget here in what, July?
We've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I just want to bring that attention to the board, and we also have to have we're only down to $1.5 million now in less than 2 months. So just be aware of that. The reason I bring this up, just attention, not to discredit this project or anything like that. But Visionary, and for the public, for the case of transparency, also, Visionary Home Builders, it's a nonprofit, correct? So it's not, when people think, you hear builders, they think of, developers and development, and this isn't the case. Well, it isn't the case, you're doing a portion of it, but it's a nonprofit purpose. Okay, no, that's the only question I had, or only statement I had. So with that, Supervisor Patty.
Thank you, Chairman. Appreciate bringing it back. I'd like to make a motion. Just as I make a motion to approve this, I'd just like to note, in the past, as we've seen, use of funds that how it triggers and brings back a benefit in multiple levels. Project room key, project home key, all these things. When we trigger those state dollars, the cost is always higher. We in the private sector have a hard time understanding that. But the reality is this is an opportunity. I know that as a nonprofit, there's restrictions and regulations and a careful protocol in order to qualify. And Visionary Homes, under the leadership of Mr. Arnell, has done an outstanding job. So on behalf of myself and Supervisor Villapudois, I'm proud to make a motion to approve this. The contingency fund, I think we could always adjust at some point. It's my understanding we have additional tax revenues that were underreported when we approved our budget. So I think we'll be okay as far as that goes. So making a motion to approve this today. Thank you.
I will second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Could I vote, please? All right, it's adopted 5-0. Thank you and congratulations, Ms. Renels. All right, move on to item number 2. I didn't even announce it yet, Mr. Dietrich. You're already on the ball here. Approve the San Joaquin County Opioid Settlement Strategic Abatement Plan and authorize the auditor controller to establish San Joaquin County opioid settlement funds. So, Mr. Dietrich, it's all yours.
Members of the Board of Supervisors, County Council, Genevieve Valentine, our Behavioral Health Director, and myself, the Healthcare Services Agency Director, here to have a presentation on our opioid settlement strategic abatement plan, seeking approval of that plan, and also the establishment of certain settlement funds by the Auditor Controller's Office. And Genevieve will start our presentation.
Good morning, Chair, Supervisors, County Council, CAO, Genevieve Valentine. So what I'd like to first do is let you know where we've been and where we are going. So in terms of our opiate settlement strategic plan, we established a work group in January with healthcare services and various members of healthcare services. We then, in the end of February and early March, did a series of public stakeholder meetings. We then moved into the end of March, most of April, doing one-on-one stakeholder interviews. So the plan that you are going to be looking at is a variety of information and feedback from stakeholders, not only in the community, but key members of our county partners and other partners within the county region as a whole, including the various cities. So where are we today? So we want you to look at our current SUD, substance use disorders, to make sure that you guys know our acronyms, prevention efforts already. Within healthcare services, the big players of substance abuse prevention is behavioral health and our public health department. Within behavioral health, we have $3.4 million based off of our last fiscal budget, where we're doing specific substance abuse prevention treatments. A large part of that is for children. We also have an agreement with the Office of Education for substance abuse collaboration within the schools, which at last fiscal year was $842,000. And we also do funding within the collaborative courts for drug and DUI court programming, where we are co-located with the probation department, the courts, and other partners. On the public health side, in terms of substance abuse prevention, we have our Opiate Safety Coalition, we have our naloxone distribution program, our safety outreach, and our provider education within our public health department. As a large county-wide, the DA, as you know, has a fentanyl messaging. The Sheriff's Department has their crew unit, which goes out into the community to do prevention efforts, as well as to help those that are struggling, that are homeless with substance abuse. There is an addiction medicine team at the General Hospital. Public health and behavioral health works with the General Hospital with the substance abuse navigator. There's integrated care conversations between the health clinic, CMC, behavioral health, and the General Hospital. And there are substance abuse navigators at the health clinics themselves. So we already are doing a rather large reach throughout the county with our county partners for substance abuse prevention. However, there's always more that can be done and should be done, and the national opiate settlements will allow our county to expand and enhance the services that we are currently providing. Just some background information for you in terms of the national opiate settlements. In 22, there was record number of deaths of opiate overdoses, as well as the fentanyl crisis became a more robust part of media, as well as within the local community. In the early 2000s, there was a marketing push, aggressive marketing push, which resulted in overdose and overprescribing of opiates. And because of that, there has been a variety of individuals who have been hooked on opiates, struggling now throughout our community, specifically those that are typically poverty driven. And due to that, there was a variety of legal settlements that occurred. And with those settlements that occurred, there have been already awarded approximately $52.8 million specifically to San Joaquin County as a result of just 2 of the settlements. So if and when all of the settlements come into play, this conservative number of $52.8 million may raise up to $70 million for local result of the opiate settlements and the work that we can do. So far, there have been 2 big settlements, one with the Janssen & Johnson & Johnson, as well as with CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart, which we are now receiving those funds for. So when the opiate settlement funds started coming in, the state and the federal government came and said there are specific allowable and recommended expenditures. We couldn't just go spend money willy-nilly. We had to make sure that we followed 6 specific high abatement activities. And through our stakeholder processes and through the recommendations of many of our partners you see in front of you, up to 100% of how we would spend those funds from a percentage perspective. We will be coming back to the board for specific allocations and asks, but within the 6 abatement areas, we're going to go through the next few slides of how within those abatement areas we will be able to spend those funds.
And high impact abatement area number 1 allows matching funds to support the capital needs of substance use disorder treatment facilities and projects approved by the state's behavioral health continuing infrastructure program. And we're looking to allocate 15% of the opioid settlement funds towards this opportunity. Based on a 2022 RAND study, our region, Central Valley, is in need of a significant number and variety of behavioral health treatment beds. And late last calendar year, we were looking to support a 150-bed regional facility in partnership with both Stanislaus and Merced counties to be located in Ceres, California. But unfortunately, that project will not be moving forward. In June, a little more than 45 days ago, Behavioral Health Services was awarded $11.6 million in the Behavioral Health Continuum Infrastructure Program grant funds to support the construction of a second locked 16-bed psychiatric health facility treating individuals with co-occurring mental health and substance use needs. We also, fortunately, last year in a budget trailer bill, received $9 million for that psychiatric health facility, and I appreciate the support from Senator Susan Talamontes Eggman regarding. High impact abatement area number 2, we're looking to allocate 55% of the opioid settlement funds toward a San Joaquin Be Well campus. About 4 years ago, we began to have discussions with a variety of healthcare and municipal partners on the concept of a regional campus that would treat both mental health and substance use disorder services. and be an alternative for clients being taken to acute care hospital emergency departments. These efforts were facilitated by Brian Jensen, the Regional Vice President of the Northern and Central California Hospital Association, a fellow health commissioner, and a fellow member of the Community Health Leadership Council. We looked at a successful model from Orange County that was a partnership between the County of Orange and CalOptima, which is their managed care Medi-Cal plan. This would be a one-stop shop and importantly will implement medically managed detoxification services, which is a treatment level that currently does not exist in our county. And we're more of a social model under the American Society of Addiction Medicine's level of care. This ambitious goal is an unplanned capital project, and we've had some conversations with General Services on how we can potentially move forward with pre-development work. And I am pleased that the Health Plan of San Joaquin is supporting 2 feasibility studies regarding one to analyze the construction cost and the offsite improvements needed, as well as another study to confirm how we will meet operational and staffing needs. This is a once-in-a-generational opportunity for investment in treatment infrastructure, which will allow for a substantial increase in needed treatment service capacity, and also, and importantly, the drawdown of additional federal financial funds to support those activities and services. Lastly, the Health Plan of San Joaquin has committed to contribute at least $20 million from their community reinvestment funds for the capital needs of this proposed project. The use of opioid settlement funds for this aspirational campus will need to be front-loaded, and ultimately the campus may be built out via multiple phases that would align with the pending spring 2024 ballot proposition that would revise the Mental Health Services Act and issue bonds for the construction of a variety of unlocked mental health, substance use, and residential aftercare facilities that can support the build-out of this SJ Be Well campus and provide a significant expansion of our ability to address mental health, addiction, and the homelessness needs within our county. We're looking to utilize approximately 23 acres of a county-owned parcel in French Camp, directly east of Interstate 5 in the San Joaquin General Hospital, which used to be a golf driving range, and it's represented in the upper right and on this chart in pink. And I don't know if I could highlight that or not, but oh, I can. Right there. So the hospital's there, that's the I-5, and that's the parcel we're looking at. The first phase, which we hope to validate and potentially move forward with initial design work by the spring of 2024, would include a dual diagnosis point of entry and an alternative destination for both mental health and sobering needs, as well as the mentioned medically managed detoxification service. The second locked 16-bed psychiatric health facility, including a crisis stabilization unit. And settlements funds would also be used to support the expansion of addiction medicine providers within the county. If other non-settlement funding can be acquired for additional phases for the SJB Well campus, we would seek to include transitional aftercare residential facilities and the expansion of other residential treatment services, specifically to include youth substance use disorder treatment services, which you do not currently have. Overall, this initial campus would be in the order of 70 to 90 beds, and phase 2 could add substantially more over the next 10 years.
The high abatement level 3, which would be a 15% of the funding, addresses the needs of communities of color and vulnerable populations, specifically connected to the sheltered or unsheltered homeless population. This would include potential media campaigns to target the marginalized communities, to enhance the street medicine team that we have in coordination with the health clinics and public health. We would like to also continue the opiate settlement or opiate safety coalition, as well as to provide outreach specifically for at-risk mothers who are expecting in partnership with the General Hospital and HSA. In abatement level 4, That would be a 5%, which would be to divert those from the justice system who is connected to substance abuse in order to provide specific training and resources to first responders, as well as other outreach and diversion programming. We would like to increase and establish a full service MAP program within the county jail, as well as jail inreach with behavioral health, so that when they discharge from the jail or release, we say discharge in behavioral health, release from the jail, there is a warm transition directly into our substance abuse programming. We would like to potentially have a 24/7 RN to provide support for 911 and other dispatch in order to make sure that substance abuse concerns are addressed immediately without deploying ambulances and taking them away from other medical emergencies. We also would like to provide resources to the collaborative courts for supplying of naloxone and other harm reduction strategies. With high abatement level 5, we would like to put 7% specifically for interventions to prevent drug addiction with our vulnerable youth. This would include the expansion of our substance use partnerships with the Office of Education to increase media campaigns specifically targeting our youth for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, and any other social media that may come up over the next 5 years that our youth will be using. We also would like to establish ongoing trainings for parents and foster parents in order to identify behavioral health and substance abuse symptoms and or behaviors prior to it becoming a full-blown issue for our youth and be able to be preventative in nature. We would also like to establish longer-term training opportunities for the community and behavioral health staff, specifically for at-risk youth and the prevention of drug addiction. High abatement level 6 would be a 3% allotment, which would be for the purchase of naloxone for distribution. What we would like to do for possible activities is supply kits of naloxone to college campuses, other campuses, partnership organization, and homeless shelters. We would like to be able to provide supplies to all of the county partners as well as the collaborative courts and county contractors. We'd like to provide specific kits for our homeless outreach teams in order to provide real-time harm reduction strategies, as well as to continue the training and partnerships for those in the family who may need to use naloxone or other harm reduction strategies. And those are the 6 levels of high abatement and the percentages we would like to use over the next 8 to 15 years for our opiate settlement.
And I'd like to thank some of our staff, specifically from Behavioral Services, Mark Santos and Janelle Friedrichsen, as well as Daniel Kim from Public Health for their support in creating this plan.
All right, thank you both. All right, before I go to, if you guys would just sit there for me, I'm going to go to public comment first, because I'm sure the board has a lot to say. So we'll give the public a chance to say something first. So Sherry.
Through the chair, just to confirm, there's a 3-minute time limit.
I'll talk fast.
Yes.
Supervisor Rickman, Chair Rickman, and County Board of Supervisors. My name is Dr. Sherry Coburn. I'm the Division Director at the San Joaquin County Office of Ed. Biannually, we survey our students in San Joaquin County, and I just want to share in 2021-22, we surveyed over 14,000 students, and the issue of substance use is not going away. Of the children surveyed, 16% of them reported that they used any other drug, pill, or medicine to get high. 24% of them reported using cold cough medicine, and 17% of them reported using opioids. This is within our county. This is a survey of 7th, 9th, 11th graders and non-traditional students in lifetime use. When you look at current users of reporting in the last 30 days, we have a 4% of students reporting that they had used prescription drugs, opioids, specifically to get high. Oftentimes you'll recognize that children will polydrug use, and this is coupled with alcohol, vaping marijuana, inhalants, and other cough medicines or other substances, ecstasy. And so it is very concerning, and I highly support behavioral health. In my 28 years at the County Office of Ed, we've really built some great community partnerships. For every dollar spent in prevention, saves $10 in intervention and treatment, but we recognize that that's not always possible. So we do support this, and the last thing I wanted to report is that of the 7th, 9th, and 11th graders, 28% of them had reported getting high 7 or more times in the past 30 days. So it is an issue before us. These are our future reporting out, and I just wanted to thank you so much for hearing my concerns.
All right, thank you for those staggering numbers. They should all be concerned. That's the only other comment form I received. Anybody from else from the public? If you could, yeah, please come up and just state your name for the record, please.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Lakshmi Dhanvantri. I'm the CMO for the Health Plan of San Joaquin. The Health Plan of San Joaquin serves 450,000 members, and over 280,000 of them reside in San Joaquin County. On behalf of the Health Plan, I congratulate the board and the Board of Supervisors and the San Joaquin County Department of Health Services for pursuing and obtaining the opioid settlement funds. I'm here to state HPSJ's support for the opioid settlement abatement plan. Based on the changes in classification of the opioid drugs by the FDA and the CDC guidelines, and increased oversight and monitoring through cures, the opioid prescriptions have gone down over the years. Despite this, in San Joaquin County, over 400 persons per every 1,000 received an opiate prescription over a year's period of time in 2021. And even among our health plan members, over 6,000 members received at least one opiate prescription over a year in 2021. And the COVID pandemic has resulted in increase in behavioral health and substance use disorders, including opiate use disorders, especially impacting children and youth. So the need for focusing on behavioral health has not been greater, and I commend the San Joaquin County Health Services Agency for pursuing and for planning this opiate abatement strategic plan proposal to cover a range of services from prevention to treatment and risk reduction. Programs should start early, and this plan proposes to have the youth addiction prevention. For treatment, funds are earmarked for the MAT clinics and also for the Behavioral Health Be Well campus to provide a range of services from sobering centers to a psych treatment health facility. So the Health Plan of San Joaquin is conducting a feasibility study for construction, operation, and funding of the San Joaquin Be Well campus. Risk reduction initiatives include the sobering centers and naloxone distribution and support for the Opioid Safety Coalition, and the health plan participates in the coalition along with several of the community stakeholders. So I'm pleased to represent Health Plan of San Joaquin and to support the San Joaquin County Health Services proposal, since it projects to use the funds through 2040, and this will create long-term transformational changes in the behavioral health and wellness of the San Joaquin County. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. All right, that's all we have time for public comment. We're gonna, I'm just joking. All yours.
Okay. Pat Barrett. A year ago, I came to 3 of you, warned you guys, she's energetic, she's progressive, and she's going to run circles around us, okay? And I just want you guys, you two are new, you are sitting on our board, but you are new, you don't know what she is good. I just want to say that. As a parent of a child that has had to use Narcan twice, opiates are not nice. A lot of people have lost kids, parents, due to this drug. Our county really needs the support, needs your support. Our Office of Education is evidence right there. These are our young people. My age, we weren't that young. but it's getting younger and it's getting younger, and these kids and these adults need our support. So whatever Chair, Behavioral Health Advisory Board, whatever Director Valentine and Director Diedrich have in mind, we need to shoot for the stars, because they're no business. They're no, how do you say it? No business.
Nonsense?
No nonsense. So I'm here to edge you guys on, but I know you are. I just had to say my minute.
All right, thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to the board at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for discussion, and Supervisor Patty.
Thank you, Chairman. A couple of questions and statements here. Define naloxone. That's new on me. I've heard Norcan, but I don't know this one.
It's the trade name for Narcan, so it's one and the same. It's administered by lay people primarily.
Excellent. Appreciate it. So make a statement on the campus that you've proposed. I know that you told me and showed me a model that was similar to what they had done down in San Diego.
Orange County.
Orange County, yeah. So I spoke with a couple of supervisors from Orange County, and they were raving, so much so that I think they're building 2 more campuses the same for their multi-million population. So I think this is fantastic, very progressive, and great use of what is some funding that would be an amazing leap forward on services for very much of an at-risk population. So excellent job bringing this to us. I look forward to, as this progresses, that we can get this launched and off the ground. Then I've got a question for the funding as it relates to the anti-fentanyl messaging with social media and the outreach that we're going to have. Are we joining the district attorney's program that they are doing exactly the same thing? So we're not replicating, but we're enhancing and building on what they have in motion?
I think it will be enhancing. I know we've had some discussions about the one pill can kill versus the fentanyl is forever. Last November timeframe, the board provided additional funds for public health to continue their campaign. But I think, as Genevieve mentioned, how much impact are we going to have with billboards or even cable television? I think we're looking more on the social media, looking to how we're going to get messages pushed into the smartphones of those 14 to 32-year-olds that are, unfortunately seeking to buy pills over social media and on the streets. But I think our campaign is going to be more tailored, geofenced to our area, but pushing messages on the social media platforms. But we will have a strong collaboration with our district attorney, because I think we have a lot of shared interest, specifically addressing the supply side.
Understood. I really have a problem with the fentanyls forever catchphrase. I just, you can hear about a diamond is forever. You can hear about love is forever. You hear about a lot of things are forever. I don't get this. If you tell me fentanyl kills forever, that really makes a lot of sense to me, and that's a very ominous warning. But I really up to the fentanyl is forever phrase. I find it offensive, really.
And I think we're tailing out that those are both campaigns from the same media organization that were kind of somewhat funded by the state that we wrote on the coattails. But I think we also need to tailor something specific to our community.
Agreed. Thank you. If you just take my opinion, I'm only one of 5, and they may say the same or disagree. But again, a diamond's forever, and that sounds wonderful and promising, and fentanyl is ominous and evil. So I really have a more biting catchphrase, in my opinion. Thank you. Lastly, do we have a current count on fentanyl? We went from 3 to 20 to 60 to 115 or something of that nature. Where are we at now?
And maybe if I know Daniel Kim's in the room, there's been, I know this came up maybe a little over a year ago when we had a presentation on the Office of Medical Examiner. There's different ways to count. We have medical examiner cases. We have death certificates, and at the state vital statistics, different count. But I would still say that we're probably at those high levels. But you are correct that it went from essentially 5 to 20 to 100 over the last 3 years.
Yep. So we're still at a peak, or are we getting a curve? Do we know?
Daniel, do you have any more current information? I see him on his smartphone, but like I said, what we get from the medical examiner's office, we're looking to upgrade our IT system there because right now it's kind of a hand count. And if it was fentanyl on board versus fentanyl being the primary cause of death, but I know there's a variance in the counts when we look at how different entities count.
Right, and I know, just that noted, I know there was an arrest recently and it captured pounds of the pills. I mean, that's on a daily basis throughout, but even regional. So we know this isn't going away. I'm just wondering if any messaging is helping curve that incredible hockey stick spike on the instances of death.
So I know I spoke about a year ago, and I think I heard in public comment today, this is coming across our southern border pretty much unabated. I was aghast maybe 9 months or so ago. People with like 10,000 pills were pulled over and released on their own recognizant in Tulare. That just can't happen. But I applaud the DA for addressing the supply side. We're not looking to go after the people that are buying, but really the people that are selling. If we can shut that spigot off, make it really horrendous if you're caught doing that. But
thank you. Did you have any numbers to share?
Sorry to put you on the spot, Daniel.
So yes, over the last 2 or 3 years, we have seen a significant spike. Our latest data shows a slight decrease, but it's still relatively high. It's still very high across the states. So right now we're still dealing with, in terms of number of deaths with regard to fentanyl.
It's still at an escalated level. It hasn't made a major drop.
No, definitely not going down. It may have plateaued. I know that we've done quite a bit, and of course there's been a lot of other concerns with regard to xylazine and other crank and whatnot. But right now what we're seeing, at least in terms of our numbers, is that it is flattening out. Luckily, it's not going much more, but again, we'll have to see. Unfortunately, the data that we get is about 1 to 2 years delayed for our area. I know that the coroner's office usually has some slightly more current data, but from what we have from the state for our area as well as for the state, it is looking like it's somewhat plateauing.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I know it's last minute on the spot. So lastly, when upon approval, when would we be actualizing some of this for the messaging, getting to those very vulnerable, the youth population that is prone to experimenting or trusting something as try this, and it's an artificial laced pill of horrible consequence?
So as mentioned in the board letter, we're not coming today with any specific appropriations increases. Our position as those will be coming, but I think the messaging is something we can start early on. I'd like to focus on the social media. So we will, after today and given guidance by the board, coming through with specific acts to actually implement the plan. And to follow up on Daniel's, those are looking at deaths. We're also working with our 7 acute care hospitals and some planning grants we have with CalAIM, where we will get a notification kind of in real time when somebody comes in that might have a potential overdose, but they have not, died. And, we're looking to send substance use navigators, have those critical conversations, link them to care, and hopefully, thankfully that they did not die, but hopefully that's also the last time they ever buy a pill on the street.
Understood. Well, that's all, but thank you for the diligence, the focus, and the intent to get this money out and the message and to rescue a lot of the bads that can happen here in our community from these drugs and dangers. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Patty. Supervisor Canepa.
I don't know if I have more statements or questions, but when I first started my endeavor as a Board of Supervisors, the chair gave me some committees that I didn't even know what I was doing. So I was kind of like a deer in the headlights. Health Plan of San Joaquin was one of them, and behavioral health was the other one. And it's been amazing, and the learning experience that I've had, and just to be a part of the group has been amazing for me. So it's kind of like the perfect storm that I'm seeing here. So we need to be able to pivot, and I think pivot fast, because we have to get this fast-tracked as quickly as we can to get this project started, because costs are not going down. So I think that's the most important thing, is that we parlay all the money, and I mean Greg and Genevieve are doing an amazing job of how we get people the services. This goes on to the parts of the question, the Narcan or naloxone, what's the shelf life of that, and how many rollouts are you trying to do and locations? Is it something that goes bad in 3 months, 6 months, year? And how many places are we trying to put this?
So I know I was at our town hall at the Office of Ed, and one of our vendors was providing Narcan, naloxone, and I think my box was about 18 months, but that's when it's in a stable environment. So if this is on, let's say, a fire rig and in the heat, or in your backpack, or on the back of the trunk of a patrol car, it will get short dated. They come in 2 packs, generally, depending upon the severity of the amount of opioids on board. You might need to have multiple doses. But I think even though it has a expiration date, I'm not saying that that's a use by date. It will have decreased efficiency, or efficacy, but it's generally 18 months. We've had some grants, and I'm thankful now that we have this opioid settlement that is specifically required to be used in these areas, but we've had grants where we've gotten Narcan and provided it in the personal property, if you will, from people being released from jail that were known to have opioid issues. We've distributed this to a lot of our CBO partners. There's ability now, it's pretty much, I wouldn't say over the counter, but it doesn't require a prescription. So a lot of our first responders, law enforcement have kind of direct access to it now. So there's been a great expansion, but we need to get this into friends and families and everybody's hand, and that will help us, because as Genevieve mentioned, we don't have it in everywhere at BHS. You never know when somebody pops a pill and they collapse in front of you, and before the ambulance or the fire department can arrive, if you can provide that, then that will indeed save lives.
Okay. And then the other thing that I've heard a lot of times is that people, when they want to get clean, it's like a week out, 10 days out. Is this going to help speed that up so that people that need the services can actually, when they're ready to, because it's a lot easier to go out and do drugs than get treatment? And I've seen that, I'm hearing that, so I don't know if it's true. I don't know if this money will help that, because obviously when you have somebody that's willing at the time to get services and help, I think need to be addressed then.
So I'll speak briefly, but then turn it over to Genevieve. That's one of our aspirational goals with the Be Well campus. Right now, we have more of a social model. And when I say social model, we can't prescribe or directly administer drugs in that residential treatment program. Somebody who's willing might go to the ED or their urgent care and get assessed. Might be prescribed something, but then they would have to come to our facility. We would hold their medication for you. But there's a lot of risks with detoxification. And indeed, when somebody's willing, because right now the only medical detox is when somebody might present at the ED and have a co-occurring medical reason to be admitted to the floor. But we want to get to the point where if you're ready to make that life change and we need to medically support you and be safe in that transition to get you from the acute phase into services, that's our goal, and that's one of the aspirations goals of the Be Well campus.
So that is correct. With the Be Well campus, we want it to be a one-stop shop for access to care, as well as actual treatment and then aftercare. So how do we provide dual diagnosis or substance abuse specific or even mental health specific treatment in lifetime right next to our hospital? Like Director Diedrich said, oftentimes when someone is coming to us, there may need to be some form of medical detox. Behavioral health does not have the capacity to do that piece of it, so we do need to partner with our general hospital for the medical detox piece, which would be a 4.0 in terms of the ASAM, which is the highest level of intensive services, and we need a medical provider to help provide that piece. So if someone walks into the ER, we can use our substance abuse navigators, our addiction medicine provider, working in conjunction with the general hospital to have the 4.0 service, and then bring them actually down to the lower level of care just on the other side of the freeway. So that way they don't have to even go too far, because oftentimes you are correct. If we provide the intensive services, but they don't know where they're going to the next level of services, then they fall off the map. So if we are able to just say, you're going right across underneath the freeway to this big, beautiful campus, we will be able to provide extension of services there, or have them do the walk-in as more of the social model, like Director Diedrich said, and move from the other perspective.
Because they're saying, like,
this is not just opioid, it's also for alcohol.
Yes.
Right, because they're saying people need to be in the 6-month program because the chances of them doing well are better longer. So, I mean,
the longer-term goal of the Be Well model, because it is almost 23 acres. We would have the clinical side of the house on one part of the acreage, and then we would have cottage-like residential programming. So that way they can go from treatment directly to a residential type program or cottage-like living. So that way they are not put back into the community, re-triggered, or potentially fall out of recovery. So we will have it all on one campus.
And a continuum, because right now you have the acute detox phase. Then with, she mentions ASAM, which is the American Society of Addiction Medicine, which has this level of care under our drug medical organized delivery system. But from the acute case, then you're screened and you need 30, 60, 90 days of residential. But then after that, we don't want to send you back into the community where the drugs are around. In this larger campus, there'd be this transitional housing phase that could be maybe up to 2 years, where other treatment, other vocational training, other opportunities to change these people's lives permanently.
Okay, last question. What's the next step for Be Well Campus?
So as I mentioned, General Services, I think back on July 11th, had their new 5-year plan with a lot of activities with SB 1022, the InShape City building. For healthcare services, we're looking at a new emergency medical services facility, a morgue building. So they have a lot on their plate. And we've had some conversations with them. I did submit the unplanned project that has to go through a committee to look at alternatives. But like I said, at this point, we're looking, and Health Plan of San Joaquin is supporting us on 2 feasibility studies. One of those will look at, the campus down in Orange County, what was their cost? We're looking at, how many beds and different types of beds. So for the building itself, that's one thing we want to get a tighter envelope on the cost range for that. But also, is the water, sewer, electrical capacity right there? Is it 100 yards away? Is it a mile away? And how much offsite infrastructure we have to put in? So looking at getting a tighter envelope on those initial cost estimates, as well as if we're looking for a larger build out of that campus over the next 10 years, what would that engender? So they're starting to have some engagement there, but also can we operate it? And operating it is, can I draw down third-party Medi-Cal, federal financial participation? Can I have a cash flow stream to do that? I want to be somewhat agnostic if you're in Medi-Cal or commercial insurance. I think we have an opportunity for a good partnership with St. Joseph's Dignity Behavioral Health. So the other feasibility study will be looking at operating and staffing. So this is a 24/7 operation. We've come to you, and I'm very thankful for the supports the board's provided with our recruitment and retention strategies. But, this might be on the order of 100+ new employees, and how do we successfully get there?
Perfect. Thank you.
And I didn't fully answer that. So hopefully over the next 6 months, those wrap up, and we return to the board for permissions to go to the next step on the development and design.
Thank you, you two, and thank you for the partners that are helping. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Canepa. And you mentioned a great point, Mr. Diedrich. And, the campus looks awesome. And, how do we fund, the additional personnel? And, you look at the stats. California has funneled more than $20 billion with a B in the housing and homeless program since the 2018-19 fiscal year. And yet, California had the largest increase in its homeless population of any other state from 2020 to 2022. So I know myself and Supervisor Patty has mentioned, countless times in the last 3 years since I've been on this board, the housing first model doesn't work. And that shows that we're just funneling money, and the problem just keeps getting worse. And I've said it time and time and time again. I remember saying it 5, 6, 7 years ago when I was on council and getting beat up for it, that you look at the underlying cause, mental health and substance abuse, right? So this is great that we have, the $52.8 million, but that's over the next 18 years. That's going to, it seems like a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, it isn't. And, we'll do with what we can with the tools that we have. So I think this board and you also and your team and staff need to push the state and our representatives, the governor, whoever, to push some of this funding into what we're doing here today, the mental health and the opioids addiction and stuff. And and you look at, I've been in law enforcement for the last 28 years, close to 28. And, we've seen it for the last 10 years. The problem's getting worse and worse and worse with meth and opioids and fentanyl. We've seen when fentanyl was just just small on the scene to what it compared to now. And it's unfortunate that the state has reacted so slowly toward that. And the last 3 years, we've talked about, I know I've pushed in, you've done a great job in your team, is, substance abuse treatment, we need more beds, period. We need to get people off of addiction. And one way to do that is to get them into a place where they feel safe and to get the treatment that they need. And that'll resolve a lot of the problems that not just this county is facing, but this country or this state is facing. And you mentioned another thing too, is accountability. And I heard that. I mean, how do you get, 10,000 pills and get OR'd? I mean, that's a huge problem. And, we have judges that need to be, no, I'm not even going to go. That's going, I don't want to go too far off here. But the accountability side of it, we're very fortunate, and we just saw it here a couple of meetings ago with our district attorney, Freitas, holding the task or creating the task force, more DAs and so on. And I know, was it late last month, I believe it was, I saw something from the district attorney's office that some fentanyl dealer got 9 years in prison. So that's the start. So it's great that hopefully will be known as a county that you come to San Joaquin County, you're going to deal this poison, you're going to pay the price, and that price is going to be, prison time because we are going to prosecute you. But I think this is a great start. I think focusing on substance abuse treatment, mental health and stuff has been long overdue. I'm hoping to get more funding. I know I'm talking to our representatives about it, and getting more funding for these types of issues. With that being said, it's just funny because you mentioned the RAND studies and the need for beds, and we've been talking about this for forever. And whatever this board can do, and you know, Mr. Jeter, we've told you countless times, if you need funding, for what this board considers our priority, then you have to let us know. And, you've done a good job at that. And now it's just the money side of it. But this is good news. I don't want to downplay that at all. It is good news. And it'll allow us to help a lot more people, hopefully, get people off of this drug. But I am going to agree with Supervisor Patty, Fentanyl is Forever campaign. It is kind of odd. I mean, when you think of that saying, you think of like with Supervisor Patty, you're associated with something positive, right? Diamond is forever, So, I mean, I'm not a firm that, goes out there and reads the populace and what works and what doesn't. So, but it's just something to look at. And I agree, billboards and stuff is one thing. But if you're going to reach our kids, they're on, social media, be it TikTok or I heard, at least from my daughters, that Facebook is for older people. So I'm on Facebook, but Instagram, Snapchat, and all these different things. So with that being said, thank you very much for bringing this forward. Thank you for your comments to the public. Thank you, Sherry, and thank you for your comments. We appreciate it, and people need to know what's going on out there.
And Chairman Rickman, if I could, I know you mentioned $52 million. I think the Visionary Home Builders was a $60 million project, so you can see how far money goes. We're not looking for permanent supportive housing on this campus. It's more transitional, but the more treatment service beds we have, the better. The pending bond proposition, which the legislation's not there yet, that will be paired with the Mental Health Services Act revision on the spring ballot, would only allow us to use for unlocked facilities. So that's one of the reasons why we're trying to use some of the funding here for the locked facility. And I agree. We've had some conversations with Captain Hardy of the Sheriff's Office, Supervisor Ding's office. I'm of the vein that, Prop 47 and the decriminalization, that's one thing, but there's no accountability for somebody with a small personal use amount of methamphetamine, cocaine, or heroin. There's no more along that black robe effect and a wobbler felony hanging over your head to push you into treatment services. But I think we might be able to have a partnership with the DA and maybe some of our collaborative courts that now that we're building expanded capacity, you'll be more voluntold into that capacity, and hopefully they stick there, because all these beds that they're having, it's voluntary. But I think there's a lot of potential wonderful opportunities, and I'm grateful for the board's support.
All right, thank you. Supervisor Ding.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, I'm standing, applauding. The main question out there on the street is, what's your end game? What's your end game? And this is a snapshot at the end game. Your reaction to the fentanyl forever, I'm not critical of your position. It's just intriguing to me, because that resonates with me. It probably resonates with a lot of people in the rooms of recovery, of addiction, because it's in speak amongst addicts. It's forever. There is no taste once, oh, that was great, I'm going to try something else another time. So I'm not saying it's the right slogan or wrong slogan. I just thought it was kind of interesting, your perception about it. One of the biggest things holding us back here, and I understand, it's not germane to put legislative language into a bond issue. And so we're probably not going to see that. But the 16-bed handicap not only is going to drive up, costs, because you got to do all these facilities, but we really should be lobbying the legislature. That 16-bed, when did you say that went into place? In 80?
So the IMD exclusion was back at the initiation of the Medicaid Act in the early 60s, such that the feds were not funding institutionalization. There's been a couple runs at it from Congress, but it's literally a multi-billion-dollar per year fix. But maybe Genevieve can state, because I know Department of Healthcare Services at the state level is looking to do what's called a 1115 waiver that might waive the IMD exclusion for a certain period.
That is correct. So the Department of Healthcare Services, State of California, has submitted a variety of different waivers directly to the federal government, CMS, for a variety of waivers depending on the type of facility and so forth. It's called BH Connect, and each county can opt into it depending on the amount of locked services, the stay for locked services, and so forth. Our county at this moment in time does not meet the criteria to opt in, because our length of stay is significantly higher than other counties within our locked facility. It is because we have nowhere for anyone to go. So once we actually build and expand our other levels of housing support services, San Joaquin County Behavioral Health could potentially opt into the BH Connect IMD waiver if it's approved through CMS for us to be able to actually draw down those additional federal funds. At this moment in time, we do not qualify because there is nowhere for our clients who are in locked facilities to go after locked placement.
Okay, and then a clarification on the 16-bed, and then broken down into your one-stop shop. Does that count? That doesn't count, for instance, your sobering center. Would that count as one of your beds, or is it the mental health is completely separate?
So the 16-bed is specifically for the locked IMD, which would be the PUF.
Good.
So
Okay.
the other sizes and so forth will depend on community care licensing and how we are licensing those homes.
Okay. Yeah, I applaud your efforts. That's, I can tell you with the addicts, alcoholics I work with, here's the process. You finally get somebody who's willing, and you got a window. You got a window because they're sitting there with their cell phone. If they don't get help right away, there's a real quick way to get a pill and to take the pain, away right now. And right now what we do is we call the camp in Santa Cruz. Do you have any beds? No. We call Napa. Oh, no, there's a 15-day waiting period. Well, that doesn't work. It's now. And so, just in Woodbridge this weekend, we had two guys, and your staff was hugely helpful this weekend, by the way. you know, and the sheriffs were out there 4 times in a 24-hour period with one gentleman. He wasn't doing anything illegal because screaming obscenities at the top of your lungs in the middle of the street and throwing things at yourself isn't criminal. But he was obviously in danger. Probably people around him were in danger because he was hostile, but there's nothing they can do. This is what they need is, you know, you've got to make it 6th grade level. You got a problem, you take them here, and then you figure it out. So, and then my final comment on the state too, the governor said, I mean, months ago, and not many people, they kind of reacted. He wanted a big ask. He's looking for, give me the pie in the sky. He needs a win. He really wants a program that says this is all so that the state can come in and fund it. And that's what you're proposing here. You've really stepped out in front of what they're even proposing in the rest of the state right now. So I commend you for that. Go big or go home. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Ding. And lastly, before I know Supervisor Patty, you're up here after, but you know, you're talking about campaigns and so on. You know, one thing I think that people need to realize, especially there are kids, you know, fentanyl is cheap, so it's laced in. It's, you know, you think you're taking one thing and you have fentanyl in there, and that's why a lot of these things you're seeing overdoses. It's not like they're, you know, grabbing fentanyl and doing, you know, strictly fentanyl. It's in things that they don't know. I don't think a lot of people realize that you're taking some pill at a party, for example, and you think this one thing and it's laced with fentanyl, you know, so be careful what you take.
Well, Supervisor, I think it's important for all parents to know.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and when their child says, I'm going to a farm party, what are they really saying? It's a PH, not a F. They're going to a pharmaceutical party, and they are going to just get high however they can. So it's very important for parents to understand that farm parties are very different than when I was in school and we were going to bonfires in orchards. It's a very different world.
And you make an excellent point. You know, cops can't be everywhere. You know, government can't be in your house even though some people may want that. But is that educate the parents of what's out there. No, you make an excellent point. So, Supervisor Patty?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm just going to make a motion to approve the San Joaquin County Opioid Settlement Strategic Abatement Plan and authorize the Auditor Controller to establish San Joaquin County Opioid Settlement Funds.
Second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Can a vote, please? All right, it's adopted 5-0. Thank you both. All right, we're going to move on to our Board of Supervisors comments and committee reports. Anyone? Supervisor Canepa.
It's been a very busy couple weeks. Obviously, the breaking of the Community Medical Center's $26 million project and Supervisor Ding's neck of the woods is very exciting. It's going to be a one-stop shop for folks in Lodi. Also, the tour of the San Joaquin Health Centers is important in the work that they do. So we need to figure out how to better, advertise the services and make sure that, everyone's happy on that end. I also toured the Smith Canal gates of Spartus to Jafka. And sometimes that was just a case in point time of maybe too much government. It's taken too long, and they're only allowed to hammer on it so many times a day. They have two biologists sitting there all day that the work is going on, and so we need to get that done. There was tons of block parties. Michelle Padilla threw one in her district with great success. I also went with Mercy Riders. They do outreach with homeless folks on Hammer Lane, and it just goes to show you all these pieces that we need to put together to better serve the homeless on a per case basis. Everyone says, we lump them all together, and you can't lump them all together. Redwood House Leadership Stockton did a project there at it was the for Child Abuse Prevention Council. Pretty amazing that the leadership Stockton, and they started a new class. The work that they did and the amount of money that they raised was there. Obviously, the Hispanic Chamber, a few of us attended that event. And then one of the other things is I'm on Community Health Task Force, and we're talking about they do an annual thing, and it's about blue zones. National Geographic surveyed 5 of the healthiest places in the world. And so it's going to be a conversation on, do we want to possibly bring that to the forefront and possibly figure out how we can be a healthier society. And then also I met with Rebecca from Mary Graham Hall Foundation, and she said they're trying to get more money for scholarships. So I think that would be helpful if we could possibly get scholarships for people that are foster youth and foster young folks, because certain projects aren't covered, like apprenticeship programs and things like that. Usually it's just for education. And then I attended a lot of the national night outs. Sorry I couldn't make them to all because there's only a limited amount of time, but I want to thank everybody in the community, local fire department, sheriff's department, police officers, probation, that are out in the community celebrating National Night Out. It is a lot of unity, and I think people in the community do a great job, and I wish we could do that every day and show our support for the community. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Canepa, Supervisor Ding.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've had a quiet week. Not really. So Miguel Villalpudua, you win. You told me when I told you I was going to hit 9 national outs, you said 6. And I pushed it, and I hit my 6th one. It was like 10 minutes after I think it ended, but there were a few people there. So you were right on the money there. But it was great to get in that. There's been a lot of discussion about voter integrity. Thursday night is the committee, Voter Integrity Committee, will be meeting here in the building on the first floor. The Sheriff's Department will be making a presentation, and I shouldn't say I'm looking forward to it, but I'm going to wait to comment until I hear from that. As Supervisor Canepa mentioned, the groundbreaking on the medical clinic on Cherokee is a huge step. We're working on another one right now, a little bit further to the northeast, actually, that'll be placed right adjacent to a neighborhood of need. And it's very important, everything we're talking about with the one-stop shop, everything else that we have, treatment, case managers, so forth, that are accessible. And my final comment is I'm really proud to be serving with a board that is action orientated. All you gentlemen have been absolutely phenomenal. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Ding. Supervisor Patty.
Thank you, Chairman. I would lead off, and I know that every one of the board members share the sentiment, but publicly acknowledging Stockton Police Department Sergeant Cortland Chappelle. He's a 9-year veteran in the department, and was shot at multiple times and wounded multiple as well last Wednesday, August 2nd, while on duty at 3 a.m. in pursuit of a suspect that had carjacked and a menace to society, to say the least. He's expected to survive, and we offer prayers for speedy recovery. Sergeant Chappelle has also served our nation as a 7-year veteran in the United States Army, someone that's, to me, a local hero, and get well, sir, for so many that serve our community, a little recognition, and we're glad that he's able to be home with his family. Yesterday, Monday, August 2nd, was Purple Heart Day, an acknowledgement of those that have worn the cloth of this nation and been wounded in battle, defending this great nation of ours. Purple Heart Medal is presented to service members who have been wounded or killed as a result of enemy action while serving in the U.S. military. A Purple Heart is a solemn distinction and means a service member has greatly sacrificed themselves or paid the ultimate price while in the line of duty. We want to thank those who serve our nation and think it's important to recognize this day. On Wednesday, July 26th, I had hosted the Manteca Youth focus team here on the 6th floor, group of about 15 or 20, 9 to 17-year-olds. For over an hour here, questions, answers. This group was founded in 1968, represent business community, and they are tomorrow's leaders. So it was a wonderful gathering, and glad to host them. A couple more items to share. An amazing meeting last Friday on the 26th of July. Myself and Supervisor Ding participated in the Delta County Coalition. That's 5 counties that surround and live off of the Delta. We participated and hosted Metropolitan Water District here in a meeting and a tour over in Hood. There was guest speakers, everybody from Chris Nudek to farmers and local residents that were very much personally sharing experience and impact of the water conveyance system as it's currently being called. But more than anything, I walked away impressed by the level of engagement, concern, the human concern that Metropolitan Water board members had expressed, their interest in the impact, local impact, economically, and again, personally. And then as well, the door was wide open to discuss collaborating on projects statewide. They equally have a concern about some of the plans that are thought of. One interesting phrase that kept coming about that struck me was the mutually assured destruction if we did nothing. And talking with Metropolitan Water, they expressed, of course, their need for inventory water supply, and they were under the impression that unless we put in the conveyance system, this area is going to be flooded, ruined, the levee's going to melt down, and there's nothing to save us in the future but the water conveyance project. And we, I think, pretty much opened up the door for them to have a different understanding. Chris Nudek gave an update on the engineering of our current levee system, how resilient it's been for 150 years. There's been no earthquake meltdown or anything of that nature. We have staged riprap, barges, everything of that capacity. So really, truly, I'm not speaking for Supervisor Ding, but I walked away very much impressed about how open they were to and receptive to our concerns and how we might be able to work together. So that's a glimmer of hope as that conveyance is a major threat to the region. Also, National Night Out was great. My office made multiple stops, and it was fantastic always to see the neighborhood and people gathering together. One of the last things I would share is this board several months ago had heard from our Sheriff's Department about onboarding 2 HR staff members. And there was some discussion. There was pros and cons about that. But just checking with the sheriff, he had shared with me the achievements, bringing these 2 HR people. They hit the ground running, and it's been, quote, unquote, phenomenal. I just want to compliment this board, listening to the needs of a department, and in this instance, the sheriff wanted to do something perhaps not usual. He wanted to onboard a couple of staff in spite of having HR department. He thought integrating it into his department would be expedient and help him manage the staffing issues that he may have. And again, double thumbs up to this board for listening to the sheriff and following his request. And lastly, lastly, we have a new media darling. Supervisor Ding is all over the media, is on the news, on social media, his pictures, front page of the newspaper, and just showing the levels of engagement this board has. Good job being out there and representing the citizens' concerns and the board so respectfully. Well done. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Supervisor Patty. Or Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to report we went to several night outs in South Stockton, in the city of Stockton. Great seeing everyone out, neighbors mingling, and law enforcement, fire department, police department, sheriff's department, so forth. I want to thank Jenna Calder for hosting an event, co-hosting an event for Supervisor Canepa and I at Michael's Restaurant. And then I myself also took a tour of the gate, and I agree with you on several answers. I mean, money, we spent too much money on it. And we did a free dumpster day last Saturday at Country Club Boulevard, and I want to thank Public Works, Code Enforcement, Sheriff's Department, and my Chief of Staff, Chris Rapay, for their hard work. We got rid of a lot of trash, and I think residents were really happy to do that for free. And that seems to sum it up. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Vice Chair. And I just have a few things I'll go by really quickly. And piggybacking off Supervisor Patty, I do want to give our thoughts and prayers, with the sergeant, Stockton PD sergeant, and all the men and women of the Stockton Police Department, and praying for the sergeant's speedy recovery. Stay safe out there. Yeah, I want to say thank you to Petra Linden for the invitation to tour St. Mary's Dining Room. Me and my chief of staff went out there a few days ago, or last week, and they do a great job. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend that you do so, or at least make an appointment to see all the work that they do. It's absolutely phenomenal. Also, just like the rest of my colleagues, National Night Out, good times. My God, I've been doing it probably over 20 years, in different capacities and stuff. And it's always a great time. The sheriff's department bringing their horses, and people always love, both in Mountain House and City of Tracy. But it just goes to show, we hear about all these different crimes, and there is no doubt crime is going up in this state. And, we have to fight back and push back and hold people accountable. And one way we do that is to, be each other's brother, right, or neighbor. And, if you know your neighbors, you know what's out of place, and you can help out, be a good witness. And one thing I wanted to bring up, and this is the first time I experienced it over in Ripon, and anywhere, is on July 30th, Ripon had their Porch Fest. And what that was about 24 musicians, different bands and stuff, played for crowds throughout Ripon on the front porches. So you would travel, they would have a map, and you would go throughout the city of Ripon. They would have different bands. It was fun. It was a good time. And again, bringing the community together and knowing the people in your community, and that's what it's all about. And I want to say outstanding job to the Ripon Chamber of Commerce. I loved it. And I'm just going to end it with there because I know it is 11:59. I said we would be out of here by noon. So, and then we have Supervisor Canepa. You're going to ruin it.
Real quick, I just want to thank the clerk of the board out at Chase Chevrolet for the event that was out there. It was a hot backpack giveaway, and the county and all the representatives from the county that were out there giving out backpacks. I don't know how many they did. Great event, food, and lots of community service oriented folks. So it was a great day, and thank you for going out and trying to get more people on boards and commissions. Appreciate it.
And just to point out, the director of DCSS shared that Chase Chevrolet donated all of the food, had his employees cooking the food for all of the attendees.
Hey, Chase Chevrolet does a great job, man.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry about that.
All right. With that being said, before we adjourn, we do have a closed session meeting. I don't believe there's anything reporting. I'm going to turn it over to you, Council. Do you have anything to state before we adjourn?
I won't have anything to report out. I don't know if anything will come of the labor issue, but I'm not aware of anything.
Okay. With that being said, we will adjourn to Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023 at 9 a.m. and time of 12:01. So thank you.
you